8. We gotta go back.
Are you joking right now?
Shh, I'm calling them. Hi, I have a question about time travel.
Progressive offers more than a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection, which literally means anytime. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
If you work remote, Staples has you covered.
Stylish office decor to turn my finished basement into a complete workspace solution.
Staples has you covered.
A desk that's all business, but not too businessy.
Staples has you covered with remote workspace solutions. And now at Staples, save 25% on all desks, storage and filing products, chair mats, lighting, decor, and desk accessories when you buy a chair. Explore solutions for your remote workspace at Staples. The working and learning store. Ends 10/29. In-store only. Exclusions apply.
Oh, look, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
We've been expecting you.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, happy Wednesday. Welcome in. I'm Justin Kinner, hanging out with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Going solo again today. Kev Nash returns to the show tomorrow, but excited to be hanging out with each and every one of you here this afternoon. Just a reminder, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, it's sports talk. It's not religion. It's not politics. It's sports talk. There's no reason to threaten or anything along those lines, but we look forward to this hour each and every day and hope everyone's had a great day. I'm excited for today's show that we've lined up. We got a lot to dive into. Want to open up with, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today about the expectations for Ohio State and everything. And we got to the point where I mentioned something about Ohio State. It's championship or bust. And my friend just disagreed with me. So there's no way that's fair that you could put any expectation of championship or bust on any program out there. And I said, actually, I've never disagreed with him more. We have different political beliefs. We have different religion beliefs. And yet I think that this is the most wrong he's ever been in his life. So let's just be real, right? Like, as I said, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, it's not religion. It's not politics. It's sports talk. So that's what we're doing here. Ohio State, when you think about everything that makes up that football program, greatness, of course. When you talk about who they are as a program, from financially to support to just the perception of who they are amongst the college football elite, to recruiting, to the quality of coaches, to the quality of men on that team, like Ohio State, I think checks off every box when it comes to why they should always be a championship or bust type of program. My least favorite days throughout the year when it comes to Ohio State football are always National Signing Day. National Signing Day to me irritates me more than anything else, because all I hear from people is how great Ohio State is, how dominant Ohio State is, how elite that they are because of all the elite players that they get. But then when it comes time to actually putting that talent on the field and they don't accomplish that goal of winning a national championship, then it's always excuse after excuse after excuse. I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm not here to bash the Buckeyes. All I'm saying is I think that sometimes we make sports too difficult. We try to talk about, yesterday we talked about the idea that, defense wins championships and blah, blah, blah. But, defense wins championships, special teams wins championships, offense wins championships. Really, you want to know what it comes down to? Good players. Good players. We always make everything too dang complicated. And that's why when you look at college football, especially, the teams with the best players are always the teams that are dancing last. There is a reason that we believe that there's an issue with college football. That's why we need to expand the playoff, because it's the same teams every year. And I've said this before, you can expand the playoffs to 100 teams, and I promise you it's going to be the same 100 teams every single year. That's kind of where I'm at with that. And Billy right off the bat, thank you, Billy, says, 1,000,000% national championship or bust. And, I think that could vary from year to year, depending on, the age of the roster and the youth percentage and all that. But we've even been taught in years past that sometimes we don't get to use youth as an excuse. I don't defend Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher, but I do kind of understand. Like, I think people are forgetting that Texas A&M should not have had as much expectations on them heading into this season. I think a lot of the expectations for them was stemmed around the fact that, hey, they beat Alabama last year and they had the number one recruiting class coming in. Well, having the number one recruiting class coming into the season doesn't mean that you're playing with those kids or that those kids are ready to be, elite college football players the second they walk out onto that field. I think you start judging the number one recruiting class for a season, not that season, but the season after that, and most definitely the third season. But that's where we're at. But Ohio State, you get the best players in the world. You should be held to being the best team in the world standards. And I think that it is very fair to put championship or bust expectations on Ohio State. If Ohio State's season does not end with Ryan Day and this Ohio State Buckeye roster hoisting up a national championship trophy, then I deem the season to be, and again, if I hate the word failure because it's not as if Ohio State failed this season, but ultimately we as fans, we go to battle with opposing fan bases all the time. We argue with SEC fans. We argue with Michigan fans. We argue with any fan base out there that tries to devalue who the Ohio State Buckeyes are, right? We go to battle for our team. We go to battle for our team because we believe that Ohio State is the best team in the country. You cannot convince us otherwise. And then when that team does not fulfill what they're supposed to, which is being the best team in the country, which we judge that based on who's hoisting up the national championship trophy at the end of the year, we come out with excuse after excuse after excuse. So as I sit here today and I look ahead to this Ohio State-Penn State matchup coming up this weekend, the big question I have is obviously no championship will be won this weekend. Obviously the big game coming up with Penn State. But is it fair to put championship or bust expectations on the Ohio State Buckeyes, especially this roster? I say absolutely it is. It doesn't mean that we are saying that there's no chance in hell that they won't lose the national championship or that they won't get there. But honestly, the money that is invested into that program, okay, the level of recruits that they get, the amount of elite level recruits that they get to commit to that program, the amount of money that they spend on their coaching staff and all the resources and everything else that goes on with that program, to me, I 1,000,000% think it's beyond fair to say that, yes, that is a championship or bust program. A friend of mine that lives in Alabama, I shot him a note. I said, hey, I'm working on something for the show today. Just curious your thoughts. You're an Alabama fan. You've been an Alabama fan your whole life. Roll Tide. I'm pretty sure that fan base, they're always screaming Roll Tide. They're super invested into their program. And he said, oh my gosh, yes, you won't meet anybody that's an Alabama fan that will not say, yes, every year is championship or bust. When you have Nick Saban, when you are the preseason number one almost every season, when you have one of the top 2, top 3 recruiting classes every season, I don't think you get to decide whether or not it's championship or bust expectations. You automatically have that label on your back. Ryan Day, if you want me to believe that you're one of the best coaches in the world, you better have this team always at a situation where they are championship or bust. It doesn't mean you're a bad coach if you don't win that national championship, okay? Urban Meyer won one national title with his time at Ohio State. Jim Tressel won one national title with his time at Ohio State. Now it's Ryan Day's turn. He's been to a college football playoff. He nearly beat Clemson to get to the national title game, his very first full season as head coach. He got to the college football national championship, got blown out by Alabama during that weird COVID season, of course. And now, last season, we blamed it on the defense. Last season, I had someone else message me say, well, last season wasn't fair to put it, to say it was championship or bust. Absolutely it was. Last season, it was all about winning a national championship or bust. When you have C.J. Stroud and Trevion Henderson, and you had Chris Olave, and you had Garrett Wilson, and you had Julian Fleming, and you had Jackson Smith and Jigba, and you had Marvis. My goodness, absolutely. I think there's more of an excuse. I think there's more precedent to be put on last year, questioning how they didn't win it last year. Well, it's because of the defense. Well, just because you have a bad defense doesn't mean that eliminates the championship or bust. That's the reason you failed. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So as I said, Billy Wright says 1,000,000% national championship or bust. Dustin Taylor says, you guys see Tennessee unis for Halloween. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but thank you, Dustin, for that. But nonetheless, Dustin Taylor also says, is Penn State the trap game? We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Come on. But yes, I think that we brag way too much about our Buckeyes. We push Ohio State way too hard on social media and in arguments with opposing fan bases for us to sit here and say that, oh no, it's not championship or bust expectations. But just me today, so that means I open up the phone lines whenever I head to the paid advertisements, of course. So with that being said, 518-1410, give the show a call. Is it fair to put championship or bust expectations, especially on this year's Buckeye team? You have C.J. Stroud, a Heisman candidate. You have one of the best receiving corps in all of football. And then, of course, you have Trevion Henderson and Mayan Williams and a much-improved defense from the last couple of seasons. I think absolutely this is championship or bust for the Buckeyes here in 2022. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Save on everything for your next project with 11% off power tools at Menards. Senco tools make work easier and faster, along with quality you can trust. The Duraspin Auto Feed Screw Gun features blazing fast speed in a compact design. It's perfect for drywall and subfloor installations. Get 11% off all Senco tools now at Menards. Good through October 30th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
If you're looking to obtain a quality education at a low price, look no further than Clark State. With over 160 degrees and certificates available, Clark State has a path for you to reach your goals. Our tuition rates are one of the lowest in Ohio, so getting that degree is easier than ever without breaking the bank. For more information about Clark State, visit us at www.clarkstate.edu.
At Simply Safe Home Security, your safety is the only thing that matters. So this holiday season, we're giving you 40% off any new system, because feeling secure in your home is a gift that everyone deserves. Named Best Home Security of 2022 by U.S. News & World Report, Simply Safe protects your whole home with advanced technology, powered by 24/7 professional monitoring. Visit simplysafe.com/holiday to save 40% today. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
From the four corners of the globe, the world's greatest set their sights on one goal. The Breeders' Cup World Championships are coming to iconic Keeneland this November 4th and 5th. Over 2 days and 14 championship races, the pinnacle of international thoroughbred racing will put the most jaw-dropping, heart-pounding spectacle before your very eyes. Coverage begins Friday on USA and continues Saturday on USA and NBC. Visit breederscup.com/2022 to learn more.
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the responsible gambling quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Oh, look, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We've been expecting you.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and Ohio State and Penn State coming up this Saturday, a noon kick, 10:30. Coverage begins right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on our sister station, 92.9 Jack FM. Kev Nash and Keith Byers will be live at the Submarine House in Kettering this coming up Saturday with the coverage beginning at 10:30 a.m. Yes, they open up early. Lots of really cool spots in there, wall-to-wall TVs. I don't know what the temperature is going to be like outside, but if it's just cool enough for you to enjoy the fire pits that they have set up out there with the outside TVs, you can enjoy the fall weather with the fire pit and, of course, the drink specials, food specials, and then watching the game outside. So Submarine House, very cool spot to obviously watch the Ohio State Buckeyes all season long. So make sure you take advantage of that. Submarine House is the spot to watch the Buckeyes this season. All right, championship or bust. That's what we opened up the show with today. Is it fair to look at Ohio State and say that it is national championship or bust? Meaning that if you win a national championship, that means, obviously you fulfilled your goal. You won the national championship, and not just fulfilling the goal, but also meeting the expectations of the program, which is national championship. And if you don't win that national championship, you failed. You have two elite level running backs. You lose Jackson Smith and Jigba, and it seems to have impacted them not at all. CJ Stroud is obviously a Heisman candidate. You look at Marvin Harrison Jr. You look, of course, at Mbuka, who has kind of arrived as well to kind of add to the depth that they have at wide receiver. Julian Fleming, after a lot of people counted him out, he's had some big games over the last month for Ohio State. So you can argue that Jackson Smith and Jigba, if he does indeed come back, his absence could have potentially helped this team in the meantime, because now there's a lot of guys that have gotten reps, that have gotten a rhythm going, that are comfortable. And now Jackson Smith and Jigba comes back, and now you just have another elite level weapon for CJ Stroud to win with. I look at Tennessee and I look at Alabama, and I see the explosiveness of those offenses, and I see Ohio State, and I see those two teams. Alabama is championship or bust. They win a national championship. That's what they're supposed to do. If they don't win it, they have failed. It's that simple. We say as Buckeye fans, it's Ohio State, Alabama, and everybody else. Well, how can it be Ohio State and Alabama and everybody else if we don't have the same expectations for our program that Alabama fans do for theirs? You win a national championship, that's all that's expected of you, especially when you bring Bryce Young back after last season, especially when you bring CJ Stroud back after last season, and especially when you improve the defense, which is the only reason I think Ohio State doesn't win a national championship last season. So 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. But we are also live on Facebook. We are also live on YouTube as well, the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel. So let's see. Bobby Sparks, he says, Ohio State and Alabama, it's championship or bust every year. This isn't the MAC. And I agree with you, Bobby. Now, people are going to say, okay, that's too much of a hot shot take right there. No, that's common sense, Bobby. Good for you. So much so that I'm not going to read your next comment, because I don't agree with you on that one. So I'm only going to, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I'm at with that. But bottom line is Ohio State, it's win a national championship or you failed this season. It's that simple. Let's see. Ron Howard says you can't season to season. It's championship or bust depending on your roster with seniors and recruiting. Okay. Ron, and by the way, I want to give a shout out to Ron. This might be the first time that we've had a conversation that does not involve the NFL or his Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that he has actually given a very thoughtful response that I actually can kind of understand where he's coming from with this. Ohio State, is it fair to say that every season is a championship or bust season? I'm asking about this season. I do believe this season, if Ohio State doesn't win the national championship this season, they failed. They improved the defense from last year. They have the most explosive weapons in all of college football, and a Heisman contending quarterback and Ryan Day as a head coach. There's no reason that they should not be national champions when it's all said and done. But to Ron's point, I think he's thinking, am I asking this as far as a year-to-year thing? I do think it's fair to say that Ohio State is a national championship or bust program year in and year out. Now, I understand there's going to be years where, hey, we don't really know who the quarterback is, or we've been fortunate over the years to kind of get a glimpse of who these guys are before they emerge onto the scene, so we feel pretty good about it. But overall, we have no idea. So I could see where he's coming from as far as that's concerned. Jesse Terry says, to me, or bust means they'll be trash a few years if they don't win it all. It'd be nice to win it all, but or bust, I don't know. Deborah Gall on Facebook, I'm a huge Buckeye fan. I 100% agree. National championship, or it's a huge letdown. I expect to win the national championship every year. A true fan wants and expects to win it all. Thank you. Thank you. I believe that is fair. I just think we put Ohio State up on a pedestal way too much for us to make excuses for when they don't win a national title. To be fair, what I am willing to do is there's some middle ground here. I think championship or bust is a fair expectation to put on this program. However, I do think that on a bad year for Ohio State, it's college football playoff or bust, especially with the playoff expanding. Now, let me rephrase that actually. No, it's playoff or bust for me as long as it's a 14 playoff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Ohio State is going to accidentally fall into the 12-team college football playoff on a down year. A bad year for Ohio State, they're not in the top 4 of a 12-team playoff. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ohio State's always going to be in the playoff moving forward. But as far as a 14 college football playoff, I am fine with saying at the very least it's playoff or bust every season. To be fair, there's no excuse. Like Alabama, it's championship or bust for them. I think it should be a championship or bust for Ohio State, but I am also willing to meet some of you guys halfway and say it's playoff or bust. If they don't make the playoff, that is a big-time failure. But I think with the Big Ten being as bad as what it is right now, Ohio State, you win that national championship. If you don't win it, it's a failure of a season. 518-1410. Is it fair? For those of you just joining us, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Mine is Kev Nash today. The Ohio State Buckeyes have Penn State this coming up weekend. And a friend of mine and I, we were talking earlier this afternoon about expectations for Ohio State. Is Ohio State a national championship or bust program? Absolutely. If us as fans are going to say it's Alabama, Ohio State, and everybody else, I think that's more than fair to say yes, that the one program that is viewed as championship or bust, that we're saying we are exactly alike, we have to hold ourselves to that same standard. Let's go to Nick. Nick, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Welcome, man. So I think Ron, and you hit a great point. I think at the beginning of the year, you have the expectations. You get into a couple games, and then you're kind of like, like last year, we were kind of like, that defense is awful, right?
Yep.
But this year, we're the only team to win every game by double digits. You're the only team that scored every time that you've been in the red zone. You cannot settle for anything less than national championship this year. I don't know how you can, because you sit there and you watch it day in and day out. Every week, they're going out and they're dominating their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, and so this is why I was shocked at Ron. That was probably the best response I've ever seen Ron actually give to us here on Facebook without trolling or giving me crap about something Browns related, of course. So shout out to Ron. So I'm glad you highlighted his comment as well. I understand why some people, even like you using the example of last year, we got a couple of games into last year, especially after the loss against Oregon, and we saw the deficiencies within the defense that, hey, we knew Ohio State was going to be suspect defensively last year. We just didn't think that they were going to be that bad. So some of us were not expecting them to win a national title. I deferred a little bit. After the loss to Oregon, I said they're still fine because they beat Michigan. You win the Big Ten championship. You're in the playoff. Let that offense go do it for you. To me, I just think that because of the recruiting dominance that Ohio State boasts about every year, I feel like as an organization, and yes, it's college, but they're an organization, you have the best players in the country on your roster. I think it's fair to say that, hey, just because you haven't developed them to the point to where they're performing to your expectations doesn't mean you're still not a championship or bust organization, if you will.
No, I think you're 100% correct. Every year, Ohio State should be a national contender at the start of the season. But to your point, there's things that are going to happen that you have to side adjust, right? When we know that C.J. Stroud's going to leave, we kind of think what we have in the bullpen, right? But do we really know what we have in the bullpen, right? Is Kyle McCord really going to be that next level guy? We know we're going to lose Henderson. We're going to lose, some of the offensive linemen and everything. So, yeah, as far as the talent and the recruiting, they should be a national title contender. But, 3 games in, as I saw the schedule come out, like week 4, I think they play Notre Dame at Notre Dame. We should know by then if that team is exactly what we think it is at the start of the season, or do we have to reset expectations?
That's fair. I'm getting another one. Brandon Kelty on YouTube, Nick. He goes, I like playoff or bust. He goes, I wasn't disgusted losing the national championship. It sucked, but it wasn't a bust. The feeling of missing the playoffs, that feels like we wasted a season. Brandon, I rarely say this when you and I are conversing back and forth on social media, but I can get on board with that response right there. The only thing, Nick, that I would disagree with Brandon on YouTube over is when he goes, it sucks losing the national championship, but I can get over that. I can get over that. Just don't get blown out. I agree.
No, I can't get over that defensive performance in that game.
In 20?
I will never get over that.
In 20?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Devontae Smith running wild. Whoever. It didn't. It looked like we were in quicksand. That looked like the old Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer, John Cooper days, right, where the Big Ten was slow. I don't know how that happened. I still don't know how that happened to this day. I have flashbacks to the whole 2002 where Miami was going to kill us with their team speed, and I'm like, it finally caught up to us, like this was karma or something. But man, yeah, I'll never get over that.
All right. Well, Nick, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Ohio State, is it fair to say that this is a national – well, this is a two-part question, if you will. Is it fair to say that this season is a national championship or bust season? That's question one. And then question two is it fair to say that this is a championship or bust program? And is there – maybe this is a three-parter. Is there such thing as a championship or bust program? I believe Alabama views themselves as we win a national championship or it's a failed season. And if we want to be viewed as a program that is on the same level as Alabama, I think we have to view ourselves, and I say ourselves as Ohio State fans about our program, I think we have to view our program in that same spotlight. But every time I try to pound my fist and dig my heels deeper on my take that, yes, they are a championship or bust program, I kind of agree with Ron. I kind of agree with Brandon too. I think I'm willing to just sit in the middle ground and say that if their season doesn't end in the college football playoff, that is a failed season for the time being, as long as it's a 14 playoff. But I think as long as it's a 14 college football playoff, if their season doesn't end every year in that playoff, whether it be being knocked out in the semifinal, knocked out in the title game, or winning it all, that season's a failure. The only caveat I would add to that is you cannot get blown out. You cannot get blown out. That's the other thing too. Like Brandon has a good point about the title game. Hey, at least I was happy with them getting there. I didn't like that they lost, but they were at least there. When you miss the playoff, you feel more like you lost out on something than when you lose in the playoff. I agree 1,000% with that. Just don't get beat by 50. Like they got destroyed by Alabama. That's something else to keep in mind. Like when they lost to Clemson 31-0 that year, you can't have that. When they lost to Clemson in that tight game in the Fiesta Bowl, I was angry that they lost. I was upset that they lost, but I didn't feel like they slighted us. I don't think Ryan Day with Justin Fields that year failed us by any means. So either way, 518-1410. Let's go to Dustin. Dustin, thanks for holding, sir. Welcome. Dustin, you there? All right, let's go to Charlie. Charlie, what up, sir?
Thought I was going to be the first one after the break. You lied to me.
I go in the order of the phones of just hurry up. What do you got? What do you got, Charlie? It's great to hear from you. Now you're calling all the way from Portland, you said, right?
No, I'm in Illinois. I'm heading to Kansas City.
Time out real quick. I need to figure out why the hell I thought you said Portland, because Illinois, that doesn't even sound like Portland. So anyways, well, I figured that out. Continue.
Well, look, you got to think about what's going on in Columbus, right? What goes on in that locker room? What do those guys think? I guarantee you they believe that's a championship or bust team, okay? And that should be the fans' expectation too. In the last 20 years, between the playoffs and the BCS games, I think we've been 8 times, right? Somewhere around there since like 01. That's almost half the time we're playing for the title. Like we're in the game or right there. And that should be the expectation of the Buckeye fans. I know it's the expectation of the team. Look at Justin. Look at this. I'm a Bengals fan, right? We got Joe Burrow. So for the next 10 years, my expectation for the Bengals is to win the AFC North. Why? It's the NFL. For me to expect us to go to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl, I don't know if I'll ever see that again in my life because of how hard that is to do in the NFL.
Oh, I'm with you on that. I don't think it's fair to ever.
We could win the North a lot. in the next 10 years with Joe Burrow if things go right.
But I think that in the
difference
AFC
between-
North, if you have Lamar Jackson and the name that everyone hates right now, and that's fine. But Deshaun, with those three quarterbacks in that division, I think that that's almost unrealistic to expect to win that division every single year. I would say, especially in an expanded playoff field in the NFL, I would say playoff or bust for the Bengals if that's the case. But good for you for saying, no, I'm going that extra step. I think we should win the division every year.
Okay, but imagine if the Bengals or the Browns or whatever team had, like, say the Browns had, Deshaun, but they also had T.J. Watt on one side, Myles Garrett on the other. They had Jamar Chase playing wide receiver. You already got Nick Chubb. You got freaking Travis Kelce at tight end. Like, and then your backups, like your backup players are also Pro Bowl players. That's Ohio State. That's what it would be like if your NFL team was stacked up like that. You would have a Super Bowl or bust attitude, and that's the Buckeyes. And there's so few teams, like a tiny handful. Maybe Tennessee, for sure Alabama, maybe Georgia. That's pretty much it in the world. Like, to have all-star, like, neck-breaking 5-star talent across the freaking board, you are a championship or bust team. That is my expectation of the Buckeyes. Look.
Man, I've never been swayed so many different directions in one show. We're a half hour in. 1 minute I agree with Brandon and everyone on this side that it's playoff or bust, and then I hear you say that, and I'm like, but you're right. You can't have the best player. This is where my original thought process was. You can't brag about having the best players in the world and then settle for, yeah, well, at least we made the playoffs. So now I'm back on your side. Damn it, I'm so wishy-washy today.
Justin, you have Patrick Mahomes on the Browns. You have Devontae Adams on one side, Jamar Chase on the other, Travis Kelce is your tight end. What is your expectation for that team?
Well, I hope we win 9 to 10 games and that we're all friends at the end of the year.
Right. You're like, if we don't win the Super Bowl, I'm going to lose my mind.
It's a failure. You put that roster, and that's another good point too. So from a college perspective, when Ryan Day is out recruiting and his staff is out recruiting and they're putting these rosters together, the message to them is not, hey, let's stack our roster and let's give it a whirl and see what we could do. No, they're telling every one of those kids in those parents' living rooms that, hey, we're going to win a national championship. Come to Columbus so we can win a national championship. So there's that. But
that's absolutely right, and that's not even they don't second guess that at all.
Okay,
that is like the level of Ohio State is insane. Like it's almost uncomprehendable. It's championship or bust, man.
All right, well, Charlie, we're out of time, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, who day? Cleveland's trash.
All right, that's fine. You could get you were a good caller today. You can say whatever you want. I'm numb at this point. So the people taking shots at the Browns in the comment section and Charlie right there just kicking a man while he's down. I mean, I'm just numb. I'm not. This is what it's like being a Browns fan. It took me a few years, but you know what? Let's do one more call. 518-1410. We got Dickie. Dickie, how are you, buddy?
Oh, how you doing, Justin?
I'm fantastic. You sound like you're upbeat today. You having a good day?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say, you over the years, I mean, I could remember in college going to Sinclair. Good point about the Buckeyes. I mean, I've seen the Cooper era.
Yep.
Then I saw Tressel. I mean, every year they're so they always come there, don't they?
No, absolutely. Look, Ohio State, they get the best players in the world, just like Alabama does, and Georgia's now finally entering that realm as well. Hell, they won the national title last year. I think that there are two for sure that should have a championship or bust mindset, and that's Ohio State, Alabama, and I think Georgia's kind of entering that realm as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, have you taken a lot of bad calls this week about the Browns?
Dickie, that's even on a good stretch for the Browns. We're getting that, but Browns fans are pretty defeated at this point. I honestly think if they don't beat the Bengals, I said this last week, their season's done if they don't win. But I think you could see quite a few big names traded from this team if they don't take care of business on Monday.
Well, the thing of it is, I know in Cleveland they've been talking up there. Do you think Hunt should go? I think he should stay, don't you? He works with Chubb. Don't you think he's asset to the club, though, for a running game?
Oh, I think Shaw. I'm sorry. I'm reading the comments about Shaw right here and there, so I got distracted. But I think that Shaw isn't going anywhere. I think it's going to be Kareem Hunt that's on the way out. That's who I think is on the way out if they don't take care of business on Monday. So we'll see. But Dickie, we're out of time, buddy.
I wanted to tell you another thing. I think there's going to be an upset. I think the Browns will be ready for them.
That's what I like to hear, Dickie. That's a great way to end the call. Appreciate it, man.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Is it fair? We'll continue the conversation. Is it fair to say that the Buckeyes, it's championship or bust? 518-1410. We'll continue with your calls and more on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN.
Resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuits seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-509-6681. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-509-6681. That's 800-509-6681. Again, 800-509-6681.
Fall is here. That means Rob's Beer Barn has all of your favorite fall beers and other seasonal refreshments. Rob's Beer Barn has you covered for all your fall and Halloween gatherings. At Rob's, you can find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need. Craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers. Fine wine, snacks, and ice. Plus, Rob's has apparel. Rob's Beer Barn is hiring. Stop in and find out about the great opportunity. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the green. Rob's Beer Barn. Just look for the beaver.
When you download the Home Depot app, taking on big or small projects starts with a tap. It's your pocket-sized toolbox for getting more done. Image search helps you find what you need with a snap. Store mode pinpoints exactly where to go to get what you want while you're at our store. Or just tap to arrange for easy curbside pickup, all from the palm of your hand. It's the app that's made for doing. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
You can't get much for $5 these days, unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT, plus 4-piece nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. That was smooth, wasn't it? That's how you're going to feel when you get that Biggie Bag at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes 4-piece nuggets, small soft drink, and small fry. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Football and Fireball is a match made in heaven, and by heaven, of course, we mean Twin Peaks. Spice things up next game day with a shot of our favorite cinnamon whiskey. And NHL is back with a doubleheader to kick off the season stateside. Watch at Twin Peaks and break the ice with shareable bites for the whole team. Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for our e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. It's easy. Just visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, recipient of Honda's President's Award. When your vehicle needs service, we make it convenient. Open 6 days a week, including all day Saturday. We also welcome same-day appointments and walk-ins as well. Our technicians are factory trained, and we offer a new state-of-the-art facility, clean waiting rooms, loaner cars, and free alignment checks as well. Ask for the $99.95 alignment special. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Did you know that 3 Ohioans are diagnosed with oral cancer every day? Dentists are doctors of dental surgery and can recognize life-threatening conditions and treat oral diseases before they become serious health complications. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Want to make tonight's dinner a true winner? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 12-piece family meal at a great price. You'll get 12 pieces of our classic Famous Recipe Chicken that's honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and pressure-cooked just right, along with 3 of our large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. This is temptation times 12. Get the family meal that's big on flavor and on value with the 12-piece family meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge.
But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99.
You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Down the sideline to the 10 and drags a defender in the end zone for a touchdown. Jackson Smith-Njigba, a 50-yard scoring strike from C.J. Stroud. He'll hit the Purdue 40. Down the left side to the 30. Henderson to the 20, to the 10. And into the end zone goes Henderson.
Don't miss the Buckeyes all season long. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on 92.9 Jack FM. Go Bucks. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
All right, and we are back. I'm Justin Kinner, hanging out with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Last bit on Ohio State here before we move on back to the NFL. Interesting from the press conference yesterday, Dave Biddle had tweeted out that Ryan Day says that the plan is for Jackson Smith-Njigba to play this week. And I countered it with a tweet of my own saying that the handling or the lack of transparency when it comes to this Jackson Smith-Njigba injury has been one of the more surprising elements of this season, mainly because of the fact that, I get it, Ryan Day doesn't owe us anything when it comes to a true update on Jackson Smith-Njigba. But my other problem with it is a lot of times when, especially in pro sports, when injuries are kind of kept a little bit tight to the, to the team, like they don't want that information to get out, or they're not as transparent as what they should be. That is done for gamesmanship. In the NFL, if you don't know if Joe Burrow is going to play or not, do you have a game plan all set to go, oppose Joe Burrow? And then there's Brandon Allen, right? Like it is a difference. So, if you have obviously Jamar Chase, or you don't have Jamar Chase, game planning for how to attack them defensively, unless you're the Browns, which do the same damn thing every single day, which is just let them run right past you. Anyways, point is I get why in pro sports there's a little bit of gamesmanship there. When you're Ohio State and you're a constant double-digit favorite every single week, I don't know what you're trying to prove with this whole like, oh, well, he didn't play for over a month. He came back for 1 catch and 7 yards and then didn't play the rest of the game, but he should be good for this week. In what world are you living in that I'm going to believe that? And if he does play this week, in what world are you living in that you think that that's an effective way of getting him back out there? The guy could either play or he can't. He could either play or he can't. I mean, he was able to muster enough energy just to go out there for 1 catch for 7 yards and call it quits. I'm not, and again, I say this every week because it sounds like I'm aggravated with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm not. I'm aggravated with Ryan Day. I'm aggravated with this whole setup of how Ohio State has handled this entire situation. Because, of course, Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to want to play, and he's going to do everything that he can to get out there. But the Buckeyes need to make a decision. We're either shutting you down until you're 100% healthy and ready to go, or if we're going to put you out there for 1 play, we're going to put you out there for 20 plays, 30 plays, or we're just going to let you play the whole time unless you physically cannot contribute. And what was this past weekend? He didn't limp off the field. I have no clue what even happened there. And don't give me the whole they have him on a pitch count, okay? This isn't the 3rd series of a long 162-game baseball season. This is a sprint to the finish line. This is you either have it or you don't. And I don't believe that bringing him back against Iowa in a game that you knew you were going to blow them out anyways, bringing him back at all, if he wasn't healthy enough to play for more than just 1 catch and 7 yards, then you didn't need to play him at all. So that's why I'm annoyed with Ryan Day. I'm not annoyed that he's not back 100% yet. I'm annoyed that they keep bringing him back and then he re-aggravates it, or that he's not ready to go. It's like, what are you seeing or not seeing in practice that has you so damn confused? You're the Ohio State University. You have the best medical staff in the country. Don't tell me that you don't understand what's going on with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Either sit him for the year or put him out there and let him play. But this, we're going to play him 1 game for 1 play and 7 yards, and then we're going to hide him for another couple weeks. And then, just when Michigan thinks that we have no other secret weapons up our sleeve, we're going to break him out. Give me a break. Jackson Smith, and if he doesn't play again till Michigan, or he doesn't play again till the Big Ten championship, or he doesn't play, I don't want to hear that. I am so beyond sick of this Jackson Smith and Jigba situation and how they're handling it. The reason I get annoyed is because I don't appreciate when coaches do this thing where they disrespect their fans, where they try to think that we're stupid. Oh, he's day to day. Like, for instance, Anthony Grant today. And by the way, I have nothing against Anthony Grant on this situation, because it's a real big bummer that Malachi Smith is injured heading into this season. My concern is the lack of transparency in regards to, and by the way, Anthony Grant owes us nothing. He doesn't have to tell us anything, but it doesn't mean that we as fans have to sit here and be okay with not being told anything. Anthony Grant was asked about Malachi Smith, I guess, in a recent press conference. His response was, there's no timetable, which anytime you hear that there's no timetable, guess what that means? Not a good thing, because coaches want to bring players back as soon as possible. They want them to get out there. They want the fans to feel excited. They don't want the fans anxious or uneasy. They want them to be, fired up. So when I heard Anthony Grant say that about Malachi Smith, I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm annoyed with this Jackson Smith and Jigba handling with Ohio State as far as the lack of transparency. And again, I'm saying all of this complaining, knowing that they don't owe me anything. They don't owe you anything. Doesn't mean we don't have to be annoyed by it. Anthony Grant doesn't owe us anything as far as any update on Malachi Smith outside of there's no timetable for his return. Okay, fine, whatever. But the further we get into the season and the more questions are asked about Malachi Smith at UD, just like what we're seeing with Jackson Smith and Jigba at Ohio State, there will be fans that start to get annoyed. We're not as annoyed about Jackson Smith and Jigba yet because we haven't faced a team that's worth the damn for us to even worry about, oh man, if we only had Jackson Smith and Jigba against fill in the blank. For Dayton, it's going to be different because there's going to be a lot of teams, especially in the early non-con, where like, man, would that result have been different had we had Malachi? But at least we get Malachi back in a week. Oh, no, we don't know when we get him back. Like, be more transparent. They don't have to. I get that. He owes me. He owes you nothing. I'm not ripping these coaches as if like they're doing something technically wrong. I'm just letting you know why I'm annoyed, and I know a lot of fans are annoyed. Give us something here. Hey, the injury's not looking good. We really got to get a handle on this injury so we have a better idea of when he's coming back. But doing the whole, there's no timetable on his return. Yeah. And then coaches act shocked when the media continues to ask questions and questions and questions. Give us a little bit more of an answer, and there'll be less and less questions about how it's handled. The difference is I don't think Anthony Grant is going to bring Malachi Smith and play him for 3 minutes one night, and then he'll disappear for 5 games, and then come out for 1 minute one night, and then disappear for a couple games. That's what we're seeing with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I've asked Keith Byers this, and I ask a lot of athletes this. How healthy do you have to be cleared by a doctor to play? When you know what I mean? When you hear an athlete, or when you hear, like when you come across a tweet of a reporter or anyone covering the team, and when you hear a report that, oh, so-and-so has been medically cleared to return to practice, or medically cleared to return to the field or to the court or to whatever, what does that mean? He's been medically cleared. So does that mean he's 100%? What percent of health do you have to be medically cleared? What percent of health does Malachi Smith have to be to get medically cleared when that time comes? By the way, I'm not rushing that situation. I'm just using that as a more localized example of something that we're going to be following really closely here as the college basketball season tips off here in the next couple of weeks. Hell, I mean, the exhibition game against Capital at UD Arena is coming up this weekend. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this Jackson Smith and Jigba thing. Everyone got mad at me last week because I've been super negative about this. I said, if he doesn't play against Iowa, he's probably not playing for the rest of the season. Well, let me ask you guys this. Does the one catch for 7 yards, does that count technically as him playing? Because I'm actually more alarmed by the fact that they threw him out there and that he left the game again than I am had he not played at all, because he could have always just come back against Penn State. But I like I said, this whole thing has just been very strange. How healthy do you have to be cleared by a doctor? So he was cleared by a doctor to play this past Saturday. He goes out there for one play, and now again, did he re-aggravate it? He didn't limp off the field. He looked fine even on the sideline. But my version of what's okay and right when it comes to a Division I body of an athlete that is about to go make millions of dollars in the NFL, that's probably making millions already as a wide receiver for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Your body's your temple, and not mine, obviously. Look at me. But he has to be very careful. And I don't blame Jackson Smith and Jigba for being careful. What I would actually prefer him to just say is, you know what? This injury, it's a little too delicate for me to be risking my NFL future, so I'm going to shut it down. Cool. Shut it down. Let the roles of Marvin Harrison Jr. and Ibuka and those guys, let them be established. Let Julian Fleming know that his targets are going nowhere. Imagine what that would do for the confidence of Julian Fleming if he knew that, man, I'm playing really well right now, but I know once Jackson Smith and Jigba comes back, I'm probably going to be the one that eats it as far as like losing a lot of my targets and opportunities out on the field. Stop doing this game where no one's getting comfortable with their role. They're getting comfortable because they're getting snaps and reps out on the field, but you got to get comfortable with your role. What is your role? Having to relearn your role heading into the final couple weeks of the regular season and then into the Big Ten title game and then to the college football playoff may not sound like a big deal to you guys, but it's definitely a big deal. It's definitely a big deal. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation if you want to. Let's see. Chad Kinser on Facebook says, shut him down, just like the Browns should have done with Baker last year. Yes, and I've always said this, as far as I'm concerned, because I think that some players, you got to protect them from themselves. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba, if a doctor clears him to play and he's not 100% to play, he's going to play at 50%, 60, 70, 75%. He'll go out there. But it's up to the coach to decide that, hey, Jackson Smith and Jigba at 75% is not Jackson Smith and Jigba that meets our standards of what a wide receiver should be for our offense. So by that standard, I have to be a little picky here, and we're going to have to sit him. So that's where I'm at with that. Coaches have to kind of protect the athlete from themselves, and I think that is what this is coming down to. But my thing is, if you're protecting the athlete from themselves, then don't even let him go out there for even that one snap. If he's on a pitch count, what did that one play do? What did that one play do for him? Oh, man, that one catch for 7 yards. I think he's ready now. Like, stop it. Stop. That's the thing as far as I'm concerned. I'm just kind of interested as far as how that's going to work. But All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Phone lines are open. I see the phone lines ringing off the hook right now. I'm going to, obviously hand this off to the paid advertisement portion of the show here, and then I'll get you guys on hold, and we'll hear what you guys have to say. Am I overreacting to this Jackson Smith and Jigba situation? Am I wrong in saying that, hey, I wish that the Buckeyes would be a little bit more transparent as far as what's going on, and don't tell me that there's a gamesmanship thing happening here? The Buckeyes are impossible to game plan for, whether you have Jackson Smith and Jigba or not. It's not as if Penn State, not knowing if Jackson Smith and Jigba was going to play or not, and then the game gets here, and it's like, man, we would have won, but we had no clue he was going to play. Stop it. Ohio State's too damn good. They're too deep at wide receiver for a gamesmanship of, we're just going to keep them guessing. Stop it. So, like I said, I think Ryan Day, there's not much to criticize him on, but I'm criticizing him on this. I think he's handling this very poorly. Very poorly. I think someone needs to protect the kid from himself. All right, 518-1410. We'll take your calls on the other side.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today, use my promo code Kinner, Kinner. Then you will be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all of your favorite teams and all of your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. I think that's pretty cool. All you got to do is download the app. When you register, you use my promo code Kinner, my last name, Kinner. And then you're going to have $100 in free bets waiting for you in your account when sports betting goes live here in the state of Ohio. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It is safe, it is secure, and it is super easy to use. Come on, Dayton, this is your chance to get in on the action. Use my promo code Kinner when registering your account today, Kinner. Have $100 in free bets waiting for you. Come on, it's a heck of a deal. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
sports betting fans out there, make sure if you haven't done so that you've downloaded the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Although we can't start legally placing bets right now, at least you'll be all set for when sports betting goes live in the state of Ohio in January of 2023. And as an incentive to downloading this FanDuel Sportsbook app, if you haven't done so already, an incentive is if you use my last name, my promo code Kinner, Kinner, you will have $100 in free bets waiting for you, so that you can use that obviously right off the bat, so you can start placing those early January bets, whether it's on your Bengals, whether it's on the Browns. Yeah, right. But heading into the biggest time of the season when it comes to the NFL with the playoffs and everything looming. So again, just keep that in mind. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It is free. It's secure. It's easy to use. Use my promo code Kinner to register with, and you'll have $100 in free bets waiting for you right away. All right, I'm Justin Kinner, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Again, I didn't think many people would be as fired up about this as I was, but I'm just kind of a little frustrated right now with Ryan Day. Apparently, there's not much to complain about when it comes to Ryan Day. He's doing a fantastic job as the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. But am I wrong in saying that the handling of this Jackson Smith-Njigba injury has been kind of off to you guys? Am I wrong in saying that something doesn't seem right, that something feels off? I feel like there is a part of me that Jackson Smith-Njigba has let Ohio State. No, again, I'm just throwing out different ideas. I have no idea. I have no insight to this. Believe it or not, Ohio State does not call me and say, Kinner, you're a big deal, dude. Let's tell you some insider stuff. No. But doesn't it seem a little odd? The one thing that Ohio State does better than any other program out there is they don't let their frustrations with the always changing college athletic landscape that's happening. They don't let their frustrations, they don't wear that on their sleeve. While old guys like Nick Saban and Jimbo and others, they fight amongst themselves and they talk about how crazy it is with the sport changing. There's the Buckeyes adapting quietly, and they're creating these NIL programs. Last year, I do know this as an insider, Ohio State was not the most pleased with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson last year. For those of you who don't know that, I do know. Ohio State was not the most pleased with Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave for not participating in the Rose Bowl last year. But what Ohio State does know is that the war that you always have to win is the war of perception. And what does the outside world think about how you're handling something? Ohio State hates the fact that you have to pay these players to come to you, at least pay them the amounts that they're getting paid, because they've always been paying them, wink, wink, right? But they have to at least let the future players that are going to be thinking about or considering Ohio State, they have to let them know that, hey, if you come here and you put yourself first, we will not judge you. We will not shame you. We will make sure you get where you want to go, which is the National Football League. That's why John Calipari has absolutely killed it at Kentucky, because while we all sit back and think that, oh man, John Calipari, he has failed at Kentucky. He has won one national championship. Well, if that's what his purpose was at Kentucky, was to win national championships, he probably would have been fired a long time ago. In fact, he's coming off 1 year of getting a lifetime contract with the Wildcats after he flirted with the UCLA job a couple years ago. But his purpose is to get guys and send them to the NBA. And that's basically Ryan Day's job, is to make sure that they let the future wide receivers know, the future DBs, pass rushers, quarterbacks, running backs, whatever cute nickname you got to give it, running back U, DBU, QBU, whatever stupid nickname you guys want to give Ohio State, fine, just do it. I don't, whatever cute little catchphrase that you need to give them to get recruits to come to Ohio State, more power to you. But Ohio State cannot, if Jackson Smith-Njigba has come out and said, hey, you know what? I got to put me first. I got to put, this combine is coming up in February. I can't risk further injuring this thing and then not being ready to go, because there's already going to be a lot of doubt about me because of all the time I've missed due to this injury. So I at least need to make sure I am 1,000,000% healthy by the time we get to that combine in February, because that's going to be what puts me back into the good graces of a lot of these teams who are going to be picking at the top of the draft. So playing chess and not checkers, is Ohio State in on this? Well, we just got to keep making sure that we're saying he's healthy, that we're not letting people know that he is quitting on his team to put his future first and yada, 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 because no matter how justified his reasoning would be for doing so, there would be people, probably people like me, that would poke at the selfishness involved. But I don't even think it's that. I don't know what's happening here. I mean, look, I defended Ryan Day. I remember doing a segment on this back after that Toledo game. There was a lot of talk that after the Notre Dame game when he went down injured, that they were probably, the good thing is after Notre Dame, you had Arkansas State and you had Toledo and you had a couple games to go before you got to that next big one, before the Wisconsin game, right? So I was surprised. They sat him against Arkansas State. That was no surprise. I thought there was no way in hell that you would see him play against, Toledo. And they tried bringing him back against Toledo. And then everyone said, well, why would you bring him back against Toledo? I said, if he is healthy, if a doctor clears him and says he's 100% ready to go, why would you not play him? I think it's a bad message by coaches if you have a player that's 100% healthy, but you're keeping him out of games because you don't want him to get injured. You want him back for that next big game. That's a dangerous practice to be involved in. But if players are not healthy and then you are sending them out there onto the field against a Toledo of all teams, and now you don't have them against Wisconsin. Now, lucky Wisconsin is garbage, but at the time we didn't know that, or at least we didn't know that they were this bad. I mean, come on. I don't agree with how Ryan Day has handled this situation. And like I said, no one has been able to answer this, not even former pro athletes like Keith Byers and others. What percent do you have to be cleared by a doctor to participate in athletics? If I roll my ankle and a doctor evaluates it, what percent does my ankle need to be for the doctor to sign off on it? And if a doctor signs off on it and clears you to play, is that the doctor saying you're 100%? Is that the doctor saying you're not healthy enough to play, but it's up to the coaches? I mean, what does that mean? I'm asking without the answer, and no one's able to give that to me because you guys don't know. Nobody knows. So that's why I don't buy into the doctor cleared him to play. Super. What does that mean? What does that mean? Ask Tua. Ask the Dolphins, right? The doctor. He said he's fine. He's fine. Then all of a sudden, Tua looked like he was in a music video for old Michael Jackson, right? Like it didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the Buckeyes, they don't make many mistakes. I think they've made a mistake with how they've handled this Jackson Smith and Jigba injury. 518-1410. Let's go to Ed. Ed, kick us off, sir. How are you?
Hey, pretty good, Justin. Don't you think the offense looked better though after he wasn't in there?
I'm not a big coincidence guy, but I think that honestly, I think it's week one. Everyone was a little off in week one. I don't think it had anything to do because he was out there, but they're clicking because they just have NFL talent all over the place, and I think they'll be even better with him. In fact, I'm worried about their chances to win the title without him. That's how drastically I think they need him out there.
Actually, in the second half, the offense, when he wasn't in there, the offense was screaming. So
second half of what?
I mean, what's the Iowa game?
I mean, look, I don't think
struggled. I mean, if he's not 100%, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, my fault. Okay, Ed, I agree with you on that. I see what you're saying. So you're saying if he's not 100%, okay, all right, my bad. I misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you were saying like, oh, he's really not that good and they're better without him. I was like, I can't get on board with that. But 75% of Jackson Smith and Jigba out there slowing down the offense because he's not 100%. I agree 1,000,000% with you. My apologies.
Well, I mean, these guys have been playing, Fleming, Harrison, Jr. Those guys have been in kind of a groove, so we'll see what happens. But, definitely put him out there when he's, close to 100%. But what I wanted to ask you about with UD, Malachi Smith, if he doesn't play, who is the point guard?
Well, it would be Brea or the Sheravamps, and that's that freshman, the kid from Mongolia that's coming in. I forgot what prep team he played for. I even called for the Flying to the Hoop Top Gun showcase that happened over, a few earlier in the year. I called a few of Sheravam's games, and the kid's fantastic. I mean, he has a vision for being such a young kid. The vision he has out on the floor is pretty dang impressive. Now, can that vision transfer to the D1 level and him make an immediate impact? That's yet to be seen. I'm curious what he's going to look like, but I think it'd be would it be Brea or Sheravam's is kind of my guess at this point. I saw David Jablonski had tweeted out that earlier that those two are kind of getting the looks as far as who's going to be the backup at this point. So I don't know. I don't really know what to make about that. We saw how drastically different UD looked when they had to go to, when they lost Malachi last year on the back half of that season, or the tailing stretch of that season. So we'll see what happens.
Now, do they play Capital Saturday?
Saturday. I don't remember what time. I'm not in town this week, so I haven't been paying attention to what time, but I know it's this Saturday. Yes.
So do they have like one exhibition game or two?
won. And then, that dumb college thing where they have like these secret scrimmages, which just makes no sense to me. But yeah, I guess they had one against West Virginia. Conflicting reports of how that went. I don't put stock into how you perform against, these secret scrimmages by any means. But yeah.
Okay, hey, thanks, Justin, and good luck, Ohio State against Penn State. Hopefully they'll blow them out. So.
I think Ohio State's fine. Michigan, as much crap as I give Michigan, I actually think that's going to be a better game than I had anticipated, but I still don't have any doubts that Ohio State comes out on top. So, but all right, Ed, appreciate you.
All right, take it easy.
518-1410, 518-1410, the handling of Jackson Smith and Jigba. Am I wrong in saying that something seems off? Let's go to Doug. Doug, kick us off again. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Justin?
Not too bad, man. What you got for us?
Hey,
what's that echo? Real quick, what's that echo in the background?
Is it still an echo?
Nope, you fixed it. Good job. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, I've had a hamstring full. I'm older, but it's a long time ago, and I never, ever was able to play again. But I was in my late 30s when it happened. But I never was able to play again. And when he feel the way he was walking, I said right then, he won't play no more this game. So I don't know if you didn't notice the walk is maybe, I don't know. I could tell he wasn't coming back in. And another thing is there ain't a doctor in the world that can tell you that your hamstring is okay. Only thing can tell that is you running. You can't look at a hamstring and say, okay, this hamstring is fine. That don't happen. So I don't know when a doctor clears you, if he don't see you play or work out with the same urgency that you're going to play with in the game, there's no way they can tell if your hamstring is all right. Now, he could probably get out there and go at 70% in practice and look pretty nice, but it's about that 100% and that game urgency that'll pop it every time. And I don't know if he'll ever play this year.
Yeah, and real quick, what's funny about that, this is coming in from Doug Toby. He said, Doug Toby on Facebook, he goes, I'm not a doctor, but you need to read about hamstring, whatever. I can't read. I'm not a doctor. I don't care. But very hard to treat and hard to determine when it's healed. Yes, you don't know when it's healed. But the thing is, you can't tell me that you can't tell me that during the week you can't see if it's healed or not, that you could only tell on game day. It's like they're taking gambles by throwing him out there on game day. If that's the case, just shut him down, because risking a further injury just to hope that he's good to go on game day, I think that's not right. So we'll see what happens.
Well, ask Keith this when you see him. I think you can practice a little different than you play. It's a different type of urgency in the game. And I bet you he's out there. I don't think that Brian Day and them are doing this like kind of how you saying it. I think they just don't know until he plays that hard game and reacts and cuts with the same kind of urgency that it takes to play. It might look like it's fine.
If only there was a thing called practice for us to figure that out, though, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you can practice and not go at that 100%.
Well, that's on them.
So, so that's, maybe, that's what they see him, just out there. Because it seems hard to believe that they will keep risking it. As delicate as a hamstring is, and I've always said this, not just with him, but just period, because I pulled mine, and I know they got the best doctors in the world, but I always wondered how people could come back in a week or 2 weeks with a hamstring, and mine's never healed to this day. 30 years later, it's still messed up. And I just wonder, I know they got the best doctor, but you can rest it for a year and it still might not come back right.
Nope, absolutely. Hey, man, I appreciate the call. Thank you, Doug.
Okay.
Take care. No, I don't think you could tell. Some guy on Facebook, he's not pleased. He says, you're beating this Jackson Smith and Jigba stuff to death. The guy got shot in the knee and was back playing NFL games in 2 months. The kid is milking it to get to the NFL. Next subject, sheesh. Well, some guy, you're not my damn producer, so you don't get to decide when I move on to the next subject. You can always move on to the next show if you don't like the topic at hand. Because if I'm talking Browns, you're fine with that. But there are also other people who say, oh my God, you talk too much of this. I'm not going to please everybody. I'm clearly not pleasing you. So just turn off the damn station so I can stop being distracted and focus on the people who do want to talk about this. All right, on to the next thing. Oh, wait, he has more. I mean, damn, is this subject really filling your entire show all week? Actually, what do you mean all week? I didn't even talk about this yesterday. Didn't talk about it Monday with Kevin because it was 3 hours of NFL. So I'd like to know what damn show you're even watching or talking about. Some guy, you're pissing me off today. What do you want from me? Luckily, you're not my producer. So there you go. On to the next thing. 518-1410. If it's not some guy pissing me off, it's usually the next guy like Shaw. Shaw, what up?
Why are you hating on me so much? I didn't even do anything.
I didn't say you did anything. I said if it's not this guy, it's usually you. It's not you yet. Not off to a good start, but I'll let you recover here. What's up?
Oh, let's see. Is Ohio State national championship or bust? Yes. They're just, like I said in the chat, certain programs that's the way you got to look at them. USC, depending on the coach at the office, USC, Texas, Alabama, so on and so forth. They just recruit at that level. That when you recruit at that level, that's what is expected. National championship, or it was a wasteful season. Michigan used to be there. I still believe they can be there, but they don't want to do what they have to do to get there. But that's neither here nor there. And then about the wide receiver stuff, question for you. You would know this more than I do because I'm not in the business. Could they be secretive, I guess is the wrong word. Could they be quiet about this because they're afraid of HIPAA laws?
I don't know all the detail. I mean, for one, they're being secretive about it because they can. Look, in the NFL, you have to put out, you know what I mean? Like in the NFL, you have to put out your injury list. You have to like put that out there. So I would believe that if there was a rule in college that you had to do that, clearly, you know, if HIPAA was an issue that they couldn't do that, then the NFL couldn't do it either. But I believe that's just, it's not a college rule. So I don't see why not.
Here's the reason why I asked, because in the NFL, most of those guys are adult age, so they can sign their own thing. Correct?
Everyone in college is an adult.
Fact. Good point. I was thinking.
You're right, but high school is a little different too. Like high school, they don't put out injured list. I mean, hell, as a broadcaster, half the time I'll show up to call a game, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've been calling that quarterback's name. I didn't think that was it. So we don't even know. Like they don't even announce who's out beforehand. Right. So yeah.
Right. So yeah, you kind of just took that point right out of my head because you're right. They're all adults once they get to college.
So I always tell you, Shaw, have pen and paper, take notes when I'm talking. I'm just helping everyone.
No, I'm kind of like what the last caller was saying. To a degree, when you're at practice, and I know what you're getting at, the fact that it's their fault. But when you're at practice, you're never going to practice as hard as what you are going to do during the game. You're just never going to do it. You can do all the cuts that you want to. You can do all the curl routes and everything else like that. But once you hit that game and you get that anxiety and you get those nerves and you get that game day feel, you got the crowd in the stand, you got the band blowing and everything else like that, it just has a different feel to it. And it's not going to feel the same during practice as it does during game day. I think there might be a little something to that, what the last caller was talking about, that they're seeing it during the week where he can make those cuts. He can do that stuff that he needs to do during practice. Then he gets out there in the game, and it's just like, no, coach, sorry, it's not. And there probably is a little bit of protection on his part because, well, we all know what he wants to do starting in February. So I think it's a little bit of all kinds of things at the same time, and it just doesn't. For you guys, it's not good. For everybody else, it's kind of like, okay, well, maybe we do have a shot. But you get my point.
Hey, we're out of time. Shaw, good hearing from you. Take care.
Yep, later.
518-1410. I don't know what my next topic is. I have to call some guy after this to get approval. I have no clue what I'm allowed to talk about. In a 3-hour show, 15 hours a week, there will be topics we spend more time on than others. Those topics we spend a lot of time on, they irritate some, but there's others that want to hear it. And then when I go to another topic, the people that enjoyed the topic we spend a lot of time on may not like that topic, so they may hit some guy. I don't know what you do for a living, but I hope whatever you do, that you're better at what you do than what you think you are at doing what I do. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. You're out of the top 10. Actually, you're not out of the top 10, but you're getting awfully dang close. All right. Jesse Terry says, might skip calling in today. I don't see it going well. Trying to protect my top 10. Hey, I'm not that, well, maybe I am. I am that conniving. I probably would drop you out if you took me out. Who knows? I said, yeah, by the way, let's see. Where are we at here? I'm trying to make sure we get it. Oh, Elvis is who I was talking about earlier, by the way, when it comes to like Sheravance and Elvis and like, who's going to be stepping in to kind of fill the void for Malachi. And nonetheless, but baptism by fire. The problem is the injury for UD in that perspective. It's the most important position out on that floor right now. But man, like I've never seen like the team with Malachi Smith as a freshman on the floor last year versus without him on the floor. I mean, that's pretty significant because I would wonder. Again, you don't want either of these guys off, but if you take Deron Holmes off the floor and Malachi Smith is out there, is Deron Holmes being off the floor as impactful negatively to this team as what Malachi is off the floor, even with Deron out there? I mean, I think it's not so much about which player's more talented. It's just which position's more important. Obviously the point guard, but man, I'm not panicking yet. I wouldn't panic either, Flyer fans, but again, it just depends on how long Malachi's going to be out. But luckily, Ryan Day is not the head coach of the Dayton Flyers basketball program. Otherwise, we'd never know. We would never know. All right, 518-1410. I got to call some guy. I got to figure out what the hell I'm allowed to talk about. So we'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be cloudy and windy, a high near 55. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low near 36, and tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy, a high near 60. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, with brand new equipment and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too. If you feel symptoms, even if they're mild, you should test fast. Test positive and at high risk for severe COVID-19? Then act fast with authorized oral treatments that can be taken at home and must be taken within 5 days from when symptoms begin. COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too by asking your healthcare provider if an oral treatment is right for you. Learn about a treatment option at treatcv19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Ew. Stuck in a cycle of rewashing your clothes? Ugh. Because you can't remove tough laundry odor? Ugh. When detergent by itself can't cut it, use new Downy Rinse and Refresh. With a breakthrough odor-removing formula, it removes odors in 1 wash, better than the leading value detergent in 3 washes, keeping all your laundry fresh. Now you can break the cycle of rewashing with Downy Rinse and Refresh.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is all about that steak. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Remember draft beer specials, everyday values, and kids eat free every day. The home for money-saving value is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Ohio, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day. DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at dkng.co/OH.
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the responsible gambling quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
You need employees.
Tell me about it.
Actually, tell us about it.
Why?
Because when you tell us about your job openings, we can tell over 300,000 other people.
You can?
Yeah, whether you're looking for a job or a better job, Alpha Media Recruitment can help fill any position with qualified job seekers with a custom plan that combines our broadcast and digital platforms.
You can do that?
It's what we do. Alpha Media Dayton, on air, on site, on demand. Call 937-519-0111. That's 937-519-0111. Or email DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com. That's DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So Ohio State, they have Penn State coming up on Saturday, but interestingly enough, that's what's up next on their schedule for this season. But the schedule for next season has come out. The 2023 Ohio State football schedule just released not too long ago. Well, look, we knew what opponents they would have, but of course, as you know, timing is everything. And Ohio State opened up with Notre Dame this season. They will not open up with Notre Dame next season. In fact, Ohio State will open up on September 2nd. They will be at Indiana. Remember the last time Ohio State opened up on the road at Indiana, that was the debut of J.K. Dobbins, who had one of the best debuts in Buckeye history. I mean, that was one of those where we always talk about how Ohio State, there's just something odd about playing at Indiana. That's an interesting matchup to open up with. Look, Indiana's a bad program. I get that. But Ohio State, for whatever reason, they've always experienced not losses there, but it's always that just weird, wonky start to the season, opening up on the road at a weak opponent at Indiana. And I think next year, keep in mind, we don't even know who the quarterback for Ohio State's going to be. And we know the names that could be involved, but we don't know who they are as far as how they're going to mesh with the talent that Ohio State has. But opening up at Indiana, and then they have 2 weeks of home games against Youngstown State and Western Kentucky. And then they'll be on the road at Notre Dame before they return back home against Maryland. So the Notre Dame game next year at Notre Dame will be September 23rd. So there you go. But we'll have that up on our website coming up here around the corner. So just keep that in mind. As far as our website's concerned, wingam.com. Today we released a preview for OHSAA playoff football coming up this Friday night. The Fairmont Firebirds and the Wayne Warriors. Significant. Look, the thing about that Division I region too, when there's so many local teams that are in there, I don't know how I feel about that. I know why they're in that region. It's just because of where a lot of these teams are geographically located, all in the same division. I completely get that. But it does stink that when you have two great teams like Fairmont and Wayne, and I know we're going to talk about, Wayne, or Fairmont, they're 7-3, and Wayne, is 6-4. So you say, well, Wayne should have won more games. I completely get that. But if you had a chance, and I've had the chance to watch a lot of these teams up close all season long, as much as I'm looking forward to that matchup, Wayne and Fairmont on Friday, I'm actually pretty annoyed that they're playing one another in the opening round of the playoff. Fairmont and Wayne both don't deserve to have their season come to an end on Friday. Now, some of you are saying, well, no high school team deserves to have their season come to an end on Friday. That's not true. They expanded the playoff. They let a lot of bad teams into the playoff. Those bad teams who don't deserve to be in the playoff, their season should come to an end on Friday. But these two teams, Wayne and Fairmont, they don't deserve to have their season come to an end on Friday, but that's just the reality of it. That's what makes this matchup so intriguing. Fairmont, they, I believe, got the 8 seed, in this bunch right here. So, let's see, they got the 7 seed. And the top 8 seeds in each region get to host a playoff game. Well, Fairmont, they've been in the playoffs a lot as of late, but this is the very first time in their program history that they have actually had a chance to host a playoff game. So they will host the Wayne Warriors on Friday night at Roush Stadium, of course. And it's also the very first time that these two teams have run into each other in the postseason. So that's pretty exciting as well. We highlight the players to watch on both teams. Drew Baker, that kid, he is Fairmont's all-time leading rusher. He's rushed for over 3,000 yards, 3,455 yards. The kid just, I know he is Fairmont's offense. I'm not a big fan of the idea of never letting your quarterback pass, because then when you get in these situations where you have to pass, the quarterback's not comfortable. Brock Baker did a good job, all things considered, that he rarely got the opportunity to pass. But Drew Baker, he is Fairmont's offense, 3,400 plus yards and counting, as he would love to make a deep run into the tournament, into the postseason and the playoffs, of course. But he's always had a lot of success against Wayne. That's the thing. So Drew Baker, the running back, the star running back for Fairmont, he's the school's all-time leading rusher. He's always had success against Wayne. I think his very first game against Wayne back in 2020, he rushed for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. In 2021, last season, he rushed for 230 yards and a touchdown. And then their most recent matchup, of course, back in week 8 in early October, he rushed for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns in their win over Wayne back in week 8. And that was a close one too. That was like a 26-21 final. But all in all, Drew Baker going up against Wayne on Friday night. For Fairmont, he's rushed for 535 yards and 5 touchdowns in his career against Wayne. So like I said, I'm looking forward to that matchup. I just hate that one of these two schools has to have their season come to an end. Wayne's another interesting story too out of the GWAC, because of the main thing is they have a sophomore quarterback that is, like, when you look at that kid, that Shondemeyer kid, Shondemeyer, the quarterback for Springfield. He's through. The kid's, he leads the GWAC in passing yards, of course. But Wayne has a sophomore quarterback in Tyrell Lewis, who is second in the GWAC in passing yards. He threw for 2,288 yards. He threw for 14 touchdowns. He also rushed for 7 additional touchdowns on the season. He's just a very balanced quarterback. Yes, he can make plays with his legs, but what I like is he doesn't rely on that. He doesn't just bail on plays early so that he could just go pick up the yardage with his legs. He lets the offense kind of develop. He lets the plays play out, and then he hits the open man. But that kid right there, one of the top QBs in the GWAC, and that's saying something, because there's a ton of great QBs, and the kid's only a sophomore. It's only a sophomore. He threw for a touchdown in 8 of Wayne's 10 games this year, and he has scored at least 1 touchdown in 9 of their 10 games this year. So my player-to-player spotlight, of course, Drew Baker for the Fairmont Firebirds, and then, of course, Tyrell Lewis for Wayne this coming up Friday. Very excited for that matchup. Tyrell Lewis, again, only a sophomore, already has 5 D1 offers. So that's pretty cool for him. So I'm excited for that matchup. Centerville, we'll talk about Centerville. We'll talk about Northmont. 6 of the 8 GWAC teams punched their ticket to the postseason this year. Miamisburg, I'll just be honest, this is why I always get uncomfortable talking about high school teams, is because if you're critical, I hate that. I'm not trying to be critical of the kids, but I do believe Miamisburg. I think that was one of the bigger letdowns this season. I mean, you had Jackson McGowan, you had a very good running back, you had a very good quarterback. You had a lot of weapons come back from last year. Like, this should have been their season. Miamisburg, it's tough to miss the postseason. You know how hard it is to miss the playoffs nowadays? They expanded the playoffs. I mean, my goodness, everyone gets in the playoff. There's 3-win teams. I went and looked. I'm about to go tally them all. There, I mean, the amount of teams under 500 in the playoff is unbelievable. It's not okay. I'm not a big fan of that. But Miamisburg, I think that were one of the big disappointments this year as far as how their season ended. Like I said, I hate being critical of high school, not really athletes, but just the teams themselves. But I think they'll even tell you, yeah, we did not start this. We didn't come into this season expecting to have our season end after week 10 and not even get a chance to play in the postseason. But nonetheless, look, as dominant as the GWalk is, the most intriguing thing that I came across the other day, kind of breaking this down a little bit, you talk about Centerville and the rich history that they have, right? Like Centerville, I believe 19 playoff appearances. They're 11-18 all time in the postseason. They've never won a state championship. Wayne, all right, no state championships. Like, that's, that I found that to be fascinating too. Springfield, I know, they've got to the state championship game, runner up. I completely get all that. But man, the last year's runner up, I think this team was really, really good with Schondelmeyer and company. But, lack of a run game for them is really what I'm going to be intrigued by as far as how deep into the playoff they can get without that run game. They're going to be fine going up against the lower seeds in the opening rounds. But once they, the talent and once the competition starts to increase, how far can Springfield go with that quarterback and pass game and Anthony Brown? My goodness, look out. But I do worry about the lack of a run game. They were the worst rushing team in the GWalk. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they've had like Smoot and a lot of these guys over the last couple of years where they just were able to run all over teams and pass. This year, they can't. No one can stop their passing game, but they don't have a strong run game either. But Fairmont, they're kind of new to. I mean, look, 6 playoff appearances. Their first one ever was back in 2008. But they're on a stretch right now where they've made it in 4 of the last 5 years. Technically, they've made it 5 of the last 6 years. They made it in 17 and 18, and then the 20, 21, and 22. But they've never had a win in the postseason. If Fairmont could find a way to beat Wayne coming up Friday night, that'll be Fairmont's very first win in postseason history. But they've never been to the state title game. They've never won a state title, obviously. But they are checking off a first as they are hosting their very first playoff game this coming up Friday night. So keep that in mind. Northmont will be at Centerville coming up this weekend as well. We'll preview that matchup on tomorrow's show. Excited about that one too. Again, that's another situation. And give Northmont credit. Look, I called the Northmont Springfield game. Keith Byers and I did this past Friday night. And I thought Northmont put up one heck of a fight. I mean, it was 21-all. It was exciting. It was back and forth. I mean, defenses played well, but at the same time, the offenses were just that much better. And Springfield just could not get out of their own way. It was penalty after penalty after penalty. But in the second half, whenever Springfield was able to clean up those penalties, that's when they just overwhelmed Northmont. I'd never seen anything like it. I mean, it was a good, close game. And then out of nowhere, within a blink of an eye, 30 points in that third quarter. I mean, they just put 50 up on Northmont like it was nothing. Northmont's a good football team. I love their quarterback. They have great weapons on the outside. They're a big team. They have size on both sides of the ball. My goodness. But it was amazing, as good as Northmont is, to see the gap between them and Springfield with as good as Northmont is. That's pretty impressive. But Northmont and Centerville, I'm looking forward to that matchup. Northmont 5-13 all time in the postseason, looking to pick up their 6th win all time in playoff play coming up against Centerville. Centerville 11-18 all time in the postseason. If they win against Northmont, that'll be their 12th in playoff history. All right, you're listening to the Justin Kinner Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll step away for a few moments. 518-1410. Kevin and I have been saying this on the last couple of shows as well. For you parents of any seniors out there, you want to give any final senior shout outs to any of your football players, please do so on the Facebook page and the YouTube, our ESPN Dayton YouTube channel. I'll be happy to give any shout outs to some of our local high school football seniors here. Some who may have possibly played their last game already for teams who didn't make the postseason, and others who are entering into the postseason play, and you want to give them a shout out. I'd love to give as many shout outs to some of these high school seniors who are heading into the most important time of the year, the playoffs. But I also want to highlight those who, unfortunately, their high school football season has come to an end. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hi, I'm Coach Jim Place, and I'm proud to support Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge. I've known Tony and his wife Annie for a long time. Something that makes Tony and the great Annie so special is they are a team. They truly care about the citizens of Montgomery County. They were born here, they're raising their family here, and the citizens of Montgomery County are something they care very deeply about. That's why on November 8th, I'm voting for Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge.
Paid for by citizens to elect Shane.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
With Mucinex DM, it's not cold and flu season, it's comeback season. Buy Mucinex DM to get cough and chest congestion relief for 3 times longer than 4-hour cough and chest congestion medicines. 12-hour relief from just 1 dose. Use as directed.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, The Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, this is Staples.
So rumor has it that Staples has everything I need to ship.
That's not a rumor. We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yep.
And I can actually ship there, right?
We have UPS right here in store.
Huh. What will Staples think of next?
Right?
No, seriously, I'm asking, what will they think of next?
Staples has all your shipping supplies and UPS service in store. And right now, get 25% off UPS Express shipping services. Staples, the best kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Valid only in Staples U.S. stores.
They call it the big lie. Repeat a false claim over and over again, and soon it's accepted. All this week, Eric Bowling is on Newsmax exposing the big media lies and how they're destroying America. Find out the big networks pushing big lies about Republicans, Donald Trump, and more. Eric names names. He even exposes how the big media polls are manipulated and used to hurt conservatives. You must watch Eric Bowling, The Balance, on Newsmax at 8 p.m. Eastern. Millions are tuning into Eric and Newsmax for the news they can really trust. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems and streaming platforms. If they don't carry it, call them and demand Newsmax. And don't forget to download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone. It takes just seconds, and you can watch Newsmax anytime, anywhere. Find out why millions are making the switch to Newsmax. Tune into Eric Bowling tonight. Make the switch to Newsmax. You won't look back.
At Simply Safe Home Security, your safety is the only thing that matters. So this holiday season, we're giving you 40% off any new system, because feeling secure in your home is a gift that everyone deserves. Named Best Home Security of 2022 by U.S. News & World Report, Simply Safe protects your whole home with advanced technology, powered by 24/7 professional monitoring. Visit simplysafe.com/holiday to save 40% today. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
From the four corners of the globe, the world's greatest set their sights on one goal. The Breeders' Cup World Championships are coming to iconic Keeneland this November 4th and 5th. Over 2 days and 14 championship races, the pinnacle of international thoroughbred racing will put the most jaw-dropping, heart-pounding spectacle before your very eyes. Coverage begins Friday on USA and continues Saturday on USA and NBC. Visit breederscup.com/2022 to learn more.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So John Slayton's on Facebook says that Fairmont beat Perrysburg like 2 years ago in the playoffs, and he is absolutely correct. My apologies. All of my notes that I was referencing, of course, have come from the actual OHSAA playoff database. So they have that wrong in there. Hey, if I'm going down OHSAA, I'm taking you with me. Look, I get a lot of stuff wrong on my own. I don't need help getting stuff wrong. So I'm throwing them under the bus. But yes, the OHSAA all-time playoff history database does have Fairmont as 0 for 5 all-time in the postseason. So my apologies on that. I did get that wrong. So no, they're not looking for their first playoff win in program history, but they are looking for their first playoff win this season. So does that help recover it? My bad, John. But John, thank you. I'm glad that you said that. But I started doubting myself. I'm like, holy smokes, I know I saw that correctly. Yes, in the OHSAA football playoff history database, it does have Fairmont as 0 for 5 all time in the postseason. So that's on me. My apologies. I'll make sure we get that fixed. Yeah. John said, yeah, that's their only win. I know, John, that's not what it says, though. So that's on me. But, yes, I did go back and double-check looking on the GWalk website. Yes, absolutely. They did beat Perrysburg back in that 2020 season. Look, and this isn't anything against anything that was accomplished during a 2020 run. That 2020 season was weird, too, because that was the COVID year. So you are allowed to play up to 10 games every season. And it was weird because as I'm looking at that situation with them, I'm like, well, they beat Perrysburg and then they lost to Olentangy Liberty, talking about Fairmont here, and then they played Beaver Creek and they ended the season with a win 24-0. But that's because I believe that was the season that we were fortunate to get any high school football in during the peak of the pandemic, of course. But I think how many did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. So we got 6 regular season games, all conference games at that. And then you went right into the postseason, but you were allowed to play up to 10. So Fairmont, their 7th game, of course, was the playoff win against Perrysburg. Their 8th game was the loss against Olentangy Liberty. And then they did add that 9th game against Beaver Creek. And some teams did opt to play. That was always, I remember how weird that was that year. It was a whole year of weird. Seeing teams that were knocked out of the playoffs playing games the very next week. That was kind of strange, but nonetheless. So yes, John, thank you for keeping me honest on that. So there you go. Found this to be interesting too. So some of the numbers came in from last week's college football. The most watched college football games in week 8. Syracuse Clemson for the first time ever with the SEC and Big Ten games on in these slots. In week 8, the most watched game stemmed from the ACC, which was, of course, that Syracuse-Clemson game on ABC that drew 4.7 million viewers. That was more viewers than Texas and Oklahoma State and Iowa and Ohio State, as well as Mississippi State and Alabama. Ohio State drew 4.4 million viewers in their matchup against Iowa, and then Texas and Oklahoma State had 4.5 million viewers on ABC. So there is that, but I find that interesting that the games on the ABC channels and the ESPN channels getting more viewers than that on Fox and others, but Fox spent way more money than these other networks. Now, again, this could be a isolated situation nonetheless, but that's kind of where we're at. How about the Cincinnati Reds and some other news that came out today? Bronson Arroyo will be inducted into the 2023 Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame. Bronson Arroyo is always going to be one of my all-time favorite Cincinnati Reds. He's in a band now. He's come to Dayton on a few occasions and performed here. I believe like Odd Bodies and some others. I can't remember where else he's performed here, but he does come to Dayton from time to time. Love his band, but it's awesome. He's actually one of like the coolest people you'll ever meet. I've been fortunate enough to interview him on a few occasions, and he's one of the most down-to-earth people that you'll meet. But having him on the show, I've already shot him a note. He's going to be on with me either later this week on Friday or early next week. But I cannot tell you how happy I am for Bronson Arroyo to be inducted into the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame in 2023. That's going to be, something to look forward to. I don't know how many of you are looking forward to 2023 when it comes to the Cincinnati Reds, but that is something to kind of circle on the calendar. That is for sure. Let me ask you guys this. Is there any chance on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you kind of gauge the chance of the Reds going after someone big this offseason? Now, I know that there is a 0% chance, and let's talk about what's considered to be big. So John Heyman, again, had put out an article a while back that talked about the Cincinnati Reds needing to be bold in their strategy this upcoming offseason. Yes, they do have money on the books for Joey Votto, and they're still paying Ken Griffey Jr. and yada, yada, yada. But I do think that the Reds, what they cannot do, the Reds have to find a way heading into next season to be able to balance, being able to balance rebuilding and developing and still having something out there that's interesting enough to bring people to the ballpark. That's the thing that fascinates me about the Reds is that this past year, they had no problem giving the middle finger to their fans saying, we're not bringing anyone back, which, by the way, I supported more than most of you. Not at first, but as we've come, sometimes I got to think we got to at least be able to sit back and evaluate what transpired. And what transpired is outside of Castellanos, who did not have even close to being as good a year as what he had with Cincinnati last year, there is not one player that the Reds moved on from that we were like, well, damn, if we only had that guy. With the season that Jesse Winker had, which was awful, with the season that Castellanos had, which wasn't very good, I don't think the Reds win even 20 more games than what they did this season. Would that make that the Reds would have been closer to being a 500 team? Maybe not even that. That's the thing. We are mad at the wrong things. I keep seeing, and to this day, I still keep reading people complaining that they didn't bring Jesse Winker back. I've talked about this a bajillion times to the point to where I'm nervous that when I look in the comment section that some guy is going to say, haven't you said this before? Yes, I have. I keep reading it though, and I keep coming across people saying, I still can't believe they got rid of Jesse Winker. You can't believe it? He hit below 220. He was not good this year. He had no power. He was not hitting for average at all. The guy was worse. He just was not good at it whatsoever. So are you saying that, oh man, if only we had the 218 batting average and the no power Jesse Winker to help our 100 loss ball club? Jesse Winker wins how many more games for the Reds? Are we talking about a 97 loss team versus a 100 loss team? Castellanos was not very good either this year. He was solid. He wasn't terrible. He's a good leader to have in the clubhouse. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have him technically, but at the same time, bringing him back as not an old player, but a guy that's further along in his prime than he will be by the time the rest of the roster catches up with them, I guess I don't mind them moving on from him either. The bottom line is I think that the Cincinnati Reds are in a position where they have to find a little bit of a balance to still continue to let Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson and let Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft, get TJ Antone back, get these cats, another season, continue to feed them, continue to develop them. But I also think you should at least flirt with fire and maybe add a little something. Maybe go after a Johnny Cueto. Maybe bring Cueto back. Cueto is not going to be the ace of this staff, but I have a hard time believing that the pitching staff for the Reds learns anything by not having a veteran in that rotation. Who in that, that's the thing. A lot of times when we talk about rookies and young players in other sports, they have a lot of veterans around them that they can go to and ask for advice. And don't tell me Joey Votto, don't tell me these guys, because what is Joey Votto going to help Hunter Green or Nick Lodolo with when it comes to pitching? Derek Johnson, stop it. The guy's not bad. That was a great get. By the way, one of the few things that the Reds did really well back when they were buying in and trying to improve the roster, I did like the coaches that they went and got. Derek Johnson, that was a good get for the Reds years ago. I'm glad he's still there. And I think he's doing a good job with Graham Ashcraft and Nick Lodolo, Hunter Green, and guys like that. He did a great job with TJ Antone before he was out with Tommy John last season. But I do believe that they need a veteran in that rotation that Hunter Green and that Nick Lodolo and Graham Ashcraft and young guys like TJ can go to and pick the mind of a guy who, by the way, nearly won a Cy Young with the Cincinnati Reds, who's won a World Series, who's done it all, who has an ERA just a smidge above 3 at this point. I think that he would be a huge help, not just on the mound, but as just a presence in that clubhouse. I would love to see Johnny Cueto come back and be a Cincinnati Red. That guy will one day be a Cincinnati Reds Hall of Famer. I don't know about a Hall of Famer, but a Reds Hall of Famer. He was one of my all-time favorite Reds, and if I'm going to have to watch another 90-plus losing season, I would much rather do it with a team that I can circle the days that Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo are up to pitch and add Johnny Cueto into the mix as well. I just think that the Reds should try to at least not go after anyone major in free agency, because I'm saying that because I'm mainly just pointing out that they won't, but go get some guys that are going to at least make this team feel like they have a shot. Because I have a feeling if you add 2 more average bats in the lineup with with Hunter, man, my goodness, I'm so obsessed with the rotation, but with Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson, and who knows, maybe Joey Votto finds his 145th different batting stance to help him. Maybe he hits the ball at a high level. This team, the Cubs, are not good. The Brewers are not good. I think the Cardinals, they're going to be hurting. No Yadier Molina, no Wainwright, no Albert Pujols, which sounds weird saying no Albert Pujols, but you can't tell me that what he brought to the table this year is going to be easy to replicate or replace. The Cardinals should be the team to come out of the NL Central next year. But the Cardinals, at least as constructed right now, I don't think that they are drastically ahead of the Reds to the point to where that gap is so wide that we can't reach it or at least flirt with it. I'm not saying the Reds are a playoff team next year. I'm not saying this team's going to be a 500 team, but my goodness, can you at least put some guys on this roster that are going to make us sit back and say, maybe it's a bad division. Look, we keep trying to scratch our head and wonder, well, how the Cleveland Guardians keep making the playoffs every year when they're in the – let's be clear. They are a very good organization that makes a lot of bad decisions that gets bailed out because of their ability to be able to develop young pitching, okay? But they get bailed out because of the fact that they play in a very weak division. Let's not act as if they are winning the NL West or anything along that. Like, they are winning a bad division in the American League. Like, it's not a good division. And that's not a shot at the Guardians. I'm not trying to, water down the success. I'm not trying to water down the success of the Guardians by any means. All I'm saying is that there are a lot of things in place that help the Guardians overcome some of their deficiencies and mistakes that they make. The Reds have never been able to overcome deficiencies due to how strong that division has been. The Brewers are not good. The Cubs are not good. And now the Cardinals, I think, are average. And the Pirates, my goodness, it's just them and the Reds every year trying to see who can stink the other one. Just give us something, Reds, Castellini. Give us something to make us feel like, hey, you know what? Jonathan India is going to be in year 3. That kid can freaking hit, man. And he is an energizer bunny. He is a guy that the team feeds off of. Tyler Stevenson, there was a presence about him when he was in that lineup. They need, for one, go get a damn catcher, get him out of behind home plate and put his ass on first base and tell Joey Votto to pinch hit, or I don't know, go count your money and get the hell out of our way. When Joey Votto announced that he was coming back and everyone was cheering, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Like put Tyler Stevenson there, something. I just hope that the Reds go and do something to make us feel like there's at least going to be something to look forward to next season. And what that is, I don't know, because it's not going to be an 85-win season. It may not be a playoff season, but damn it, I would love to at least head into July and feel like, the Reds are within 7 games. Maybe, you win a couple series here and there, some injuries deplete another team, maybe. Just because you're rebuilding doesn't mean that you have to be as bad as what they were this past year. Can't there be some kind of happy, middle ground? You can go out and get some guys off the scrap heap like they've done in the past and go get some middle ground guys. Go get some guys that you can sign for 2 years and hold down some spots for a couple years while you develop this system and be competitive. I don't understand why rebuilding has to be so unwatchable. Part of me is like, I kind of want to enjoy watching this rebuild because there are some bright spots. The pitchers I talked about, obviously Tyler Stevenson in India, let them continue to get better. I don't know. Wishful thinking. We're Dayton's home of the Reds. Maybe I'm just feeding you fluff so that you get excited about Reds baseball on 1410 Wing AM. Maybe I'm just a desperate Reds fan. Speaking of desperate, I'm going to talk some Browns. Don't go anywhere.
listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Make sure your home's heating and cooling system is in shape for the season with the experts and community trusted service that you can rely on. From William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning, we're offering exclusive savings opportunities on the new Lennox system. Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today or visit us online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
They call it the big lie. Repeat a false claim over and over again, and soon it's accepted. All this week, Eric Bowling is on Newsmax exposing the big media lies and how they're destroying America. Find out the big networks pushing big lies about Republicans, Donald Trump, and more. Eric names names. He even exposes how the big media polls are manipulated and used to hurt conservatives. You must watch Eric Bowling, The Balance, on Newsmax at 8 p.m. Eastern. Millions are tuning into Eric and Newsmax for the news they can really trust. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems and streaming platforms. If they don't carry it, call them and demand Newsmax. And don't forget to download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone. It takes just seconds, and you can watch Newsmax anytime, anywhere. Find out why millions are making the switch to Newsmax. Tune into Eric Bowling tonight. Make the switch to Newsmax. You won't look back.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with the tools to do incredible things. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be cloudy and windy, a high near 55. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low near 36, and tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy, a high near 60. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed. Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling days, I already had a little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100% feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
You need employees.
Tell me about it.
Actually, tell us about it.
Why?
Because when you tell us about your job openings, we can tell over 300,000 other people.
You can?
Yeah, whether you're looking for a job or a better job, Alpha Media Recruitment can help fill any position with qualified job seekers with a custom plan that combines our broadcast and digital platforms.
You can do that?
It's what we do. Alpha Media Dayton, on air, on site, on demand. Call 937-519-0111. That's 937-519-0111. Or email DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com. That's DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com.
Buckeye football season is back. That means tailgating and parties for the big game. You need the Lee's famous recipe Buckeye Bucket. It comes with 25 pieces of the delicious jumbo breast strips for only $44.99. Of course, you can add a few of their famous country side items, buttermilk biscuits, gallons of fresh brewed Lee's iced tea, or lemonade. You have the perfect recipe for a tailgate or watch party. Cheer on the Buckeyes this weekend with a Buckeye Bucket. Order today.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, recipient of Honda's President's Award. When your vehicle needs service, we make it convenient. Open 6 days a week, including all day Saturday. We also welcome same-day appointments and walk-ins as well. Our technicians are factory trained, and we offer a new state-of-the-art facility, clean waiting rooms, loaner cars, and free alignment checks as well. Ask for the $99.95 alignment special. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Did you know that 3 Ohioans are diagnosed with oral cancer every day? Dentists are doctors of dental surgery and can recognize life-threatening conditions and treat oral diseases before they become serious health complications. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 3, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Yesterday we talked, of course, about, how strong is the take of defense with the championship. I'm not saying you don't need a defense, as we talked about yesterday, but at the same time, you see how these leagues, whether it's college football, whether, of course, it's the NFL, it's more of an offense. Football is more offensively minded in the NFL, and the same thing as we're seeing in college football. I'm not saying teams don't care about defense anymore, but we talked a lot about that yesterday. But the Eagles just made a huge move, a blockbuster move here. Ian Rappaport again tweets out that the Bears are trading star pass rusher Robert Quinn to the Eagles. It's a major move with the NFL's best team simply reloading. The only thing I would disagree on is the Eagles being the NFL's best team. The Eagles are not the best team. Could we stop with the Eagles are the best team thing? The Eagles are a very, very good team. I think they're the most balanced team. No, that's still not true. I'm still taking the Bills. The Bills are head and shoulders better as far as being a well-rounded team. This helps the Eagles, but I do believe the gap between quarterbacks is what separates the Bills from the Eagles. And by the way, I really hope we don't see a Bills versus Eagles Super Bowl. My goodness. Yeah, that would just be horrible. But I don't look good for the Eagles. They gave up, I believe the report I read said they gave up a 4th rounder. The only thing that frustrates me is when you see reports like this about a team only giving up a 4th rounder to go get a pass rusher like Robert Quinn. It's like we're other teams like you. I'll take that 4th rounder and I'll throw it in an additional 4th or another 5th or something. Like you mean to tell me that that's all it took to get a Robert Quinn? Good for the Eagles. Good for them being aggressive. This is what I like about teams like the Eagles. Like, why are the only teams that make moves teams that are the ones playing the best football? Like the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Look, I'm not that big on Odell Beckham Jr. by any means, but it does sound like they were able to rework the deal for Kelsey or rework his contract to open up about $3 or $4 million, which is probably going to be dropped into the lap of OBJ. And you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, who is, one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Their offense is the best offense in the NFL right now from an efficiency standpoint, but yet they're looking to add more. Oh, well, what about, you know what I'm saying? Like the Bills were kind of toying with the idea as well. And then the Eagles are fine, right? No, they're adding more. Why are all these good teams adding while bad teams who are sitting there scratching their head every week saying, well, I don't know. I guess we just got to play better. Kevin Stefanski, my goodness, if you hear one interview, you've heard them all. We just got to do better. We just got to be better from the top down. Yep. Starts with the coaches. The players in that locker room, I'm tired of hearing it. I know it's a coach's handbook, or that's what they're all trained to say. Yawn. But why a team like the Browns, who, by the way, came into this season after a very busy offseason, they knew exactly what they were getting themselves into with the Deshaun Watson situation. They knew damn well that by going and landing Deshaun Watson, that it was going to bring on a crap storm of media coverage, and that's exactly what it has done. But that didn't change the fact that if you were going to be aggressive by going to get Deshaun Watson, why do you stop at a certain point? You went and you got Jadeveon Clowney. You went and got Amari Cooper. You went and got Deshaun Watson. Why are you stopping? You have, $40 million in cap space? The Browns have one of the most cap space still of all the teams in the NFL. You have room to still go be aggressive. And what I mean by that is I know that at 2-5, it seems like the season is over. You know why the season is over? It's not because you're 2-5. It's because of all the rumors circulating that you're about to just blow up the roster, or it's all the other non-rumors of you looking to improve your roster. The bottom line is I don't care how good the Cincinnati Bengals are playing right now. As we talked about earlier in the week, the Browns win on Monday. They're a game out of first place, and all the Browns have to do is continue to keep their head above water until Deshaun Watson comes back. Now, for you morons out there that want to counter with, well, how do you know who Deshaun Watson's going to be when he comes back? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But stop acting like he's not a top 5. He was a top 5 quarterback the last time he was in the league. I don't expect him to pick up right where he left off. But you got to think that even a rusty Deshaun Watson is still going to be better than what they have right now in Jacoby Brissett and anything that they had with Baker Mayfield at this point. So we'll get to that point later on. But I'm pretty pissed off right now because the Cleveland Browns are sitting here why were you that aggressive in the offseason? Why did you go balls to the wall? Why did you go all out to improve this roster just to get to 2-5 and one win away from being within a game of first place in the AFC North, just for you to say, all right, Kareem Hunt, come and get him. What, Wyatt Teller, was that the other name I saw on the potential list of guys that they can move? I mean, give me a break. I'm angry. When I see teams like the Eagles bettering their roster, that ticks me off. Not because good for them, that ticks me off. I'm jealous of the Eagles. Good for them. Why is it that the teams that are kind of in between right now, like, why don't you go improve your roster? Put your roster over the top. That's the stuff that just drives me crazy. The Jets doing what they're doing. They're winning. They have a big injury to their running back, and what do? They go get Robinson from the Jaguars. A winning team making sure that they continue winning by trading for another guy. Good for the Jets. But wouldn't it make more sense for teams like the Browns, who are kind of floundering, like kind of drowning right now? Like, go get help. It's not like you can't do it. You've already given up a lot to go get Deshaun Watson. Did you give up all of that to go get Deshaun Watson just to now be afraid? You made the most aggressive move, arguably, in the history of the NFL, and now you want to be soft. Now you want to sit here and say, well, 2-5. What can we do? I'm not a fan of the Cleveland Browns' wuss approach to how all of this is going down. You were aggressive. You made the gutsiest move in the history of the National Football League just to get to 2-5, and that's what people are focused on is the 2-5 record. If Bengals fans want to do the whole, well, we're a couple plays of being 7-0 and brr, 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 the Browns could play that same game as well. Losing to the Patriots the way they did, that stunk, but you know what? They deserve that loss. They could have easily just as won any of those other games that they lost. And we're talking about a team that's actually ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals, even with the backup quarterback and even with the defensive deficiencies that they have. But I'm not doing the whole what if thing. I'm not making excuses. My point is that the team is this close. With the backup quarterback, with this bad defense, they are this close to still being a team. And kudos to the Bengals. I mean, I appreciate the Bengals leaving the door open for still the Browns to have a shot. If you would have told me coming into the season that the Bengals, after improving their roster and coming into the 2022 season after being in last year's Super Bowl, if you would have told me that the Browns started out 2-5, I would have thought that the Browns are dead last and that they are at least 4 games back in the division already. They're 2, and a win on Monday puts them 1 game back. And I'm hearing rumors of, oh, who wants Kareem Hunt? Come and get him. Oh, who wants Wyatt Teller? Who wants? Are you kidding me? Even if the Browns don't trade any of their players by the deadline, that ticks me off too. They shouldn't. It's not about selling their team. Go get help. Whether it's an additional receiver, whether it's more help on the defense, I don't care. Do something. Show the fans that you've put through hell, because after all the fans getting excited for years of, oh man, you went and you got Baker Mayfield, which showed promise at first, of course, and then Nick Chubb developed, and then you got Denzel Ward, and I mean, my goodness, the Browns were hitting on all of these draft picks, right? They killed it with Myles Garrett. They did a fantastic job. Best offensive line in football, best run game in football. My goodness, what can go wrong? You blow it all up. The fans were excited. You basically just slammed on the brake, made everyone fall forward and hit their head on everything in front of them, just so you can go get Deshaun Watson, which I think deep down, despite the fact that, yes, it is a moral conflict for some of you to wrap your head around, the bottom line is in this league, if you don't have an elite quarterback, you don't have a shot to win. The Browns will have an elite shot, or they will have a legitimate shot at winning for the next 6 to 7 to 8 years because of Deshaun Watson. You want to make your jokes, all that stuff, fine. Continue to be the childish people that some of you are. That's okay. The bottom line is I think Browns fans understand where the Browns were coming from with going to get Deshaun Watson. Deep down, we all appreciate that, man, they were aggressive. They could have easily just caved into Baker Mayfield, gave him, $45 million and said, thanks for getting us to the playoffs and winning a playoff game. That's way more than anything we've ever had since coming back to Cleveland. And then off they go, right? They didn't do that. The Browns said, no, we have, you're going to mock this, that's fine. The Browns said, we have a higher standard for what we want to be as an organization. We want to win, and we want to win at a high level, and the best way to do that is to get an elite quarterback. So you go get an elite quarterback. You still have a ton of cap space left, because that's why you restructured the contract of Deshaun Watson and all the other big names that you have on this roster to begin with, to have that available cap space. Now you don't want to use it, and I don't get why. You don't have to go get long-term or players for the long-term or big contracts. You're literally taking rent-a players away. I mean, they could have went out and get Robbie Anderson from, of course, the Panthers. They could have went out and taken care of some of this. I'm so irritated with the Cleveland Browns. You were so aggressive. You came this dang far just to basically wave the white flag and say, we're done. You beat the Bengals on Monday, which, by the way, the Bengals are only a 3-point favorite. Are the Browns an underdog? Yes. Are you kidding me? The Bengals are the hottest team in football right now. They're going up against a 2-5 crappy Browns team, and they're a 3-point favorite. The season's not done. After they kick the Bengals' ass on Monday, they're going to be a game within first place in the AFC North. The record looks like complete garbage. I get that, but just keep fighting. Just keep your head above water. Give yourself a shot so when Deshaun Watson comes back, Deshaun Watson with Amari Cooper and David Njoku and Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and that offensive line, why am I don't trade Kareem Hunt now. Why? Because we're 2-5. You win Monday, you're a game out of first. You're in this. I could see if all the losses have been blowout losses. I mean, honest, I know this. You guys roll your eyes at this all you want. But the Ravens game, to be fair, was one of the better games the Browns have played this season. Now, you could say that bar is pretty low, but I just listened to Bengals fans for the first 5 weeks of the season make excuse after excuse of, well, I mean, we're this close. I thought if that's the defensive intensity that the Browns come out with on Monday night, I like their chances against the Cincinnati Bengals. I just do. They will get to Joe Burrow. They will make his night hell just like they have done the last 4 times that they've played him, because that's that's the one team that he just seems to, it's a matchup thing, whatever it is. But I'm tired of this idea that, the Browns are waving the white flag. They're about to trade players off. Give me a break. Give me a break. That's frustrating. You don't go get Deshaun Watson. You don't make that move just to get to 2-5 and are 1 win away from being a game within first place. And now you want to say, okay, this is too much for us. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I know that I saw some calls coming in. Can't take those. I'm by myself in the studio today. But if you call back, I will get you guys back in line, and I'll take your calls on the other side as I can work the phones during this pause in the action. 518-1410. Your reaction on social media as well. The Justin Kinner Show. Make sure you head to Facebook and like the show page. And then, of course, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that as well. 518-1410. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hi, I'm Coach Jim Place, and I'm proud to support Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge. I've known Tony and his wife Annie for a long time. Something that makes Tony and the great Annie so special is they are a team. They truly care about the citizens of Montgomery County. They were born here, they're raising their family here, and the citizens of Montgomery County are something they care very deeply about. That's why on November 8th, I'm voting for Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge.
Paid for by citizens to elect Shane.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
If you haven't done so, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, again, ahead of sports betting becoming legal here in the state of Ohio starting in January of 2023. Yes, you may not be able to start placing legal bets until January of 2023, but it would be nice to kind of be prepared for when that time comes. And all you have to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It is free, it's secure, it's easy to use. And when you register using my promo code Kinner, Kinner, you will automatically have $100 in free bets waiting for you that you'll be able to utilize come January of 2023. How exciting is that? I've always thought that was pretty cool, mainly because of the fact that for those of you who don't have that much experience in gambling at all or sports betting or anything along those lines, you could dabble, of course, with some parlays. Obviously, bet against the spread. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can get involved with sports betting, and then to be able to do it with $100 in free bets. That way, if you lose it, you're not losing your own money. You're kind of learning. I'd rather make mistakes with, the Monopoly money that I'm giving you that you can use for free on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, right? So take advantage of that. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 518-1410 talked about this. This just came out a little bit ago that Robert Quinn, the star defensive pass rusher, of course, for the Bears, now is with the Philadelphia Eagles. Good for the Eagles. I'm a Cowboys fan. I grew up in El Paso, Texas. My family grew up Cowboy fans. I grew up a Cowboys fan until we moved to Ohio. And then, of course, I jumped on board with the Cleveland Browns. I don't know why I always have to defend my fandom to y'all people, but I just figured I'd throw that disclaimer out there. But I grew up hating the Philadelphia Eagles. But they're 6-0. Some say they're the best team in football. I don't, look, I think they're one of the best teams in football. I think by adding Quinn, to the mix now, I think that they are probably the most well-rounded team in football, although I still think that, I think that they are a lesser version of the Bills. I like the Bills defense and the Bills offense more, but I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles are that bad. I would still take the Kansas City Chiefs over the Philadelphia Eagles. But the thing that is just fascinating to me, I'm watching teams like the Jets who lose their rookie star running back, and then they go and they make a trade with, of course, the Jaguars to bring their top running back over, right? Like the teams that are winning and want to continue winning, they keep making these aggressive moves to make sure that they remain at the top. How about the Kansas City Chiefs? Although this deal has not technically been finalized or done yet, Odell Beckham Jr., there's a lot of talk that the reason that they readjusted the contract for Kelsey, of course, is because that frees up some money that they can go and bring Odell Beckham Jr. onto the roster with Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelsey and all the weapons that he already has over there. Like the Kansas City Chiefs are the most explosive offense in football, but they're maneuvering money to add more offense because they know you just can't have enough offense in this league. They know that, we're good, but we got to be better. And I appreciate that. But what fascinates me is the teams that at this point of the season, you kind of are who you are, and we kind of know what your deficiencies are. Why are teams like the Browns, and, let's just say that the Bengals would have lost to the Falcons last week. Okay, and let's just say that they're, instead of 4-3, they're 3-4. Wouldn't you as Bengals fans be saying, okay, we can't just let this season get away from us. We have to make a move. I don't know what that move is. All right. I don't know, how many moves it's going to take, but I think as Bengals fans to sit there and continue to sit back and just say, well, one of these weeks we'll figure it out. That is a dumb mindset to have. And I think that's an even worse mindset to have when you are actually people running professional football league organizations. And I think it's a horrible decision by the Cleveland Browns to sit back and not try to improve anything on this roster. And what I mean by that is that they are 2-5, but there are so many wins that they left on the table. And what I mean, outside of the New England Patriots loss, every loss has been by one possession. They have been that close. I'm not making excuses. They deserve to lose those. You have a double-digit lead against the Jets. All right, that loss was pretty embarrassing at the time. It's not as embarrassing now as the Jets are a much better football team than we had given them credit for. However, I don't care if you're up 11 against the Bills with a minute to go. You don't lose football games when you're up 11, double-digit points with a minute to go. That is just bad, from the top down. But that's how close they are. One more tackle, one more stop, they're 3-0 to start the season, right? Then they're 4-0 because they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Chargers, he missed it by a half of a foot, talking about, of course, in Katie York. A half a foot to the left. We're talking about a 5-1 football team. That's where we're at this point. So for the Cleveland Browns to use the lazy excuse of, we're 2-5. Your record's 2-5, but you're actually a very solid football team, even with a backup quarterback and the deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball. And you win on Monday night, you're a game out of first in the AFC North, which has proven to not be as good a division as we had anticipated. We thought the Ravens would be Super Bowl contenders. We thought the Bengals would be Super Bowl contenders. And those two teams have been two of the bigger disappointments in the start to the NFL season. I don't care that the Bengals beat up on the worst pass defense in the NFL. I mean, a lot of you Bengals fans are the first ones to say, for you Bengals fans, quite a few of you on the page that don't like Ohio State that have said, you haven't played anybody. You're bragging about beating up on nobody, but then losing and wetting your pants because, Joe Burrow, he threw for 400 yards against the worst pass defense in the NFL. Until I see him actually do it against like a real defense and do it consistently, I really don't care what he did in a one-off. All right? I hit 3 threes in a game one time. That didn't make me a three-point shooter. Okay? That just means I had a good day at the office. I'm just throwing that out there. So bottom line is the Cleveland Browns to sit back and not make any moves is BS. Go make moves. Be aggressive. Why did you come this far? You took on so much heat for getting Deshaun Watson. Why were you so aggressive going after him, but now you want to take your foot off the gas and say, okay, let's slow down a bit. No. When is getting Deshaun Watson right now? If you can somehow find a way to be within a game of the division, or my goodness, even tied at the top of the division by the time you get him back, there is not going to be a time moving forward that Deshaun Watson is going to have Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and this offensive line. And I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to be really, really good when Deshaun Watson comes back. So my point is this might be the most loaded offense that we get to see Deshaun Watson with the Cleveland Browns, because he's not on a rookie deal. He does have a bloated contract that is going to force the Browns to have to move on some key pieces on the OL, key pieces, obviously Kareem Hunt and others. And, Dearness Johnson. Look, great run by Dearness Johnson last year, but we need to see it more built within the actual starters around him. But we need to see it more consistently. I'm not sold that, we're safe if we move on from Kareem Hunt just because we saw a nice run by Dearness Johnson last year. So that's where I'm at with this. The Browns need to be aggressive. They need to treat this as this is the last year that they're going to have an opportunity to have a stacked roster. And this stacked roster is not as good or loaded as the Bengals loaded roster, or even as the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. But that's where we're at right now. So the talks of trading away Kareem Hunt and Wyatt Teller and all this, I'm like, why? If you get Deshaun Watson back in a couple of weeks and you are within one game of the division, or heaven forbid tied, with 6 weeks to go, this will be the most talented roster that Deshaun Watson plays on in Cleveland. You don't want to give him that shot to make a run into the postseason. Go all in for this Bengals game. I do believe that if they lose this Bengals game, that's it, that this team is really quitting. I said the season's over if they start out 2-5. The only reason I'm willing to move that back one more week is because of the fact that they lost. It was whoever had the ball last. Look, I think the Browns played their best football game this past Sunday. I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds weird. I think it's mixed with who they played, where they played, and how they responded after getting punched in the mouth the week before. So that's why I feel pretty good about that Ravens game, is because I saw something there. I hadn't seen improvement from one week to the next since the Browns season started. I finally saw improvement last week. That's why I feel good about them having one more week. Go get that big win over the Bengals. And I think they're going to do it. They're going to do it at home on Halloween. They're going to be a game within first when it's all said and done. And now it's a completely new season. So this talk of trading Kareem Hunt and others, shove it with that. 518-1410. 518-1410. Let's go to Joe. Joe is gone. So let's now go to Jerry. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. And as a fan of a 2-4 football team that has scored more points than it's given up this year, I can understand your frustration. The notion that we did not go all in and try and get Robert Quinn, when, by the way, I think we're the second most cap space in the league, if I'm not mistaken,
yes,
is completely unfathomable to me, Justin. So I feel your pain.
Especially because it's just it's a rental. That's why any team right now that is this close, and whether they're playing really well and have the opportunity to go add even more depth, or a team that's just on the outside looking in that can use one more piece to push them in, I can't believe it. All it took was a fourth rounder, Jerry. It's not like they had to give up an entire draft class. They gave up one fourth-round pick to get him. My God, the Browns could have done that. Anyone could have done that.
I know, right? I mean, imagine him with Myles Garrett. Or imagine him with Max Crosby. Who's blocking that duo, right? And you guys got Clowney as your third pass rusher. We'd have Chandler Jones as our third best. Are you kidding me?
I'm with you. I mean,
you guys play Joe Burrow twice a year, right? You couldn't use a pass rusher like him.
We could have used him. We could have used him this Monday. We're going up against the Bengals on Monday. Add him now, So there's that.
I know. I feel you, brother. I'm just calling in to sympathize. You and I are on the same page with this one. I don't get it either. All right.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Thanks.
But Jared, good hearing from you.
You too, buddy.
518-1410. Bobby Sparks on Facebook says Burrow, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception since week 2. What's this one-game sample nonsense? One-game sample nonsense. Before this last Sunday, Joe Burrow statistically was one of the most average quarterbacks in the National Football League. I know you talked about the fact that he wasn't turning the ball over and that he was throwing a lot of touchdowns. But if we're going to say that Joe Burrow was only good in the first 6 weeks of the season because he was throwing a lot of touchdowns, and my God, is Jared Goff better than Joe Burrow? Because Jared Goff had more passing touchdowns than Joe Burrow. You guys love to use the touchdown thing whenever it fits your narrative because the other numbers didn't back it up. But now Joe Burrow has these inflated numbers because he went the frick off this past Sunday. But before heading into this past Sunday, he was right there in the middle of the pack. He wasn't having an elite season. So now you saw him have this elite game. All of you Bengals fans are in hiding. He has this elite game. He throws for 400-plus yards, goes off like he does every once in a while, whatever. I don't expect him to throw for 400-plus yards every single week, but my goodness, you can't throw for 400 yards and then do what he did to start the season where he was average, explodes, and see, I told you he was great. I never told you he wasn't great. I just said he needs to be better. Simple as that. So, no, it's not a lazy anti-Burrow take, bub. It's just not. Let's go to Jack. Jack, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Yeah, I have the same sentiments that you do.
You a Browns fan, Jack?
Joe Burrow, you got that right.
You sound like a Browns fan, man. I'm telling you, I can hear it in your voice.
Well, Joe Burrow is going to be on the run. Okay. Basically, it's kind of hard to throw a pass when you're on the grass. And you can change that grass to something else.
I'll say it for you. It's kind of hard to throw a pass when you're constantly on your ass. That's what we're saying heading into Monday. Happy Halloween.
Well, and another thing too, it just, Kareem, I think they have not, the blame goes on Stefanski. I gave him a pass last year, but this year his play selection sucks. Why no screens? Why no slants? I don't know. You just, and I really think that Joe Burrow, I really like him. I really do. But if he doesn't have time, we're gonna eat him alive on Monday.
That's the Browns' best opportunity to take advantage of their strengths on the defense, which is their pass rush. I don't like Joe Woods. Everyone likes to pile on Stefanski. I don't think he's a top 5 head football coach by any means, Jack, but at the same time, I think Joe Woods is their biggest problem. However, I did like what I saw, the intensity of the defense against Lamar and the Ravens this past Sunday. That's the first time I've witnessed that from the defensive unit this season. If they can try to recapture that type of intensity for Monday night, I do like the Browns' chances. I really do. But, man, that defense is bad. If we see that defense we've seen the first 6 weeks of the season, Joe Burrow is going to pick this team apart like we're the Atlanta Falcons, and that I will go to bed early. I will turn the TV off. I will not stand for that.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Anytime, Jack.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. Take care. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. But, yeah. Fired up about it. Watch all these other teams be aggressive and improve their roster. These 6-0, the undefeated Eagles, making aggressive moves to better their roster. 518-1410. Let's go. Let's try Joe again. Joe, you're on live, man. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. This is Joe. I got dropped earlier.
No, you're good, man. When I went to you, it just had the dial tone. So, no, you're back on live, man. What's up?
All right. I'm a lifelong Browns fan, 59 years old, and I'm going to disagree with you and the other callers.
Okay.
I think it's put up or shut up time for the Browns right now. I'm not really happy about some of the decisions the coaching staff has made during games. worried that they're going to waste the Hall of Fame career of Nick Chubb, and that really ticks me off. So I think it's put up for shut-up time. I think I'm not going to say anything to a Bengals fan until Tuesday, and they've got to win that game.
Yeah, I think Monday. Honestly, I think Monday is probably the biggest game in this team's run right now. Like not just 2022, but I mean from the time that Andrew Berry arrived. I think this is the biggest game in Andrew Berry's run as GM of the Browns. Obviously, he can't control anything of the outcome of this game coming up, but I do think this game does dictate where the Browns go from here. They win, they're back within the game of the division. I think they get that, they get that revamped confidence. It's a different season, but they lose and they're 2-6. That it's done. It's over with. And then we're going to see some drastic changes. And I think rightfully so, but I'm not ready to jump off the cliff yet. I got to see what happens Monday first.
I've already entered the 12-step program for Browns fans, so I'm just going to, continue with the therapy and wait till Tuesday.
See, I'm newer to this Browns fan stuff. I'm like 5 years in, so I'm still doing that whole, they'll do it. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it. I'll learn one of these days.
Yeah, well, I go back to Leroy Kelly, and I remember Biner, and I remember so many things. There's scars, and they're pretty deep.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I tell you that much. Hey, Joe, appreciate you calling back, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. See you.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Ooma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk. I would sleep upright with more pillows. But that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill in the morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
One pill, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Your bills are due on the 13th, but you don't get paid until the 15th. Sound familiar? Life doesn't always wait for payday. Get the NetSpend All Access account for your everyday mobile banking needs and get paid up to 2 days faster with direct deposit. Get started today at netspend.com and go beyond banking. Banking services provided by an account established by Pathward NA member FDIC. Faster access based on comparison of our ACH processing policy versus posting funds at settlement. Deposit account opening is subject to registration and ID verification. Terms and costs apply.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs
and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am Hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at Audible.com.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use it directly.
Justin Kinner back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. On yesterday's show, we caught up with ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. We talked, of course, about the college football playoff poll, as the first one will come out less than a week from now. Next Tuesday night, the very first college football playoff poll will be released. The Buckeyes, of course, we know are going to be in the mix. There's no questions asked about that. But what are their chances of being number one? Tennessee Volunteers, will they be number one? We talked about that. We talked about the Bengals and the Browns and their big Halloween matchup coming up on Monday. So that was all our conversation from yesterday with ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. We'll have that coming up next here in 90 seconds.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll super mega for your backside. Shake it, put it, do the Charmin slide. Super mega make you feel alright. Everybody do the Charmin slide. Long lasting TP gets everybody going. Please